S&P 500 gapping down to start the day after a pretty wild session. We had the gap up yesterday morning, then trading lower right at the open and chopping throughout the day. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq. Nasdaq looking pretty similar, and again, gapping down to roughly session lows for both yesterday and Wednesday. Let's see if we can break that low and push lower to end the week, or find a little bit of bounce. We'll take a look at USO as well. Continuing headlines here coming out of the Middle East. And as you can see, a little bit of an uptick in oil over the last 30 minutes or so. You've got comments coming out of Israel and Lebanon. That situation, of course, still a bit unresolved. Yesterday, some of that move to the upside that we had pre-market at least continued, came as we had some economic data, specifically PCE and GDP. GDP a little bit better or hotter than expected here, and we're going to get some more economic data today at 8:30 a.m. You get retail inventories and advanced goods trade, so nothing massive. But then at 10 a.m. you do get a key number, the final University of Michigan consumer sentiment print for the month of June. We are expecting a slight uptick, so let's wait and see if that comes to fruition. In the meantime, we have to talk about a lot of names today. Here's one of the reasons that we have this drop in tech this morning. That's Micron, MU. After its well-received earnings report on Thursday night, generally held onto a lot of its strength yesterday, but today we're actually hanging out right near yesterday's low of session. Apple was pretty weak yesterday despite the strength that Micron and some of these memory names tried to bring to the market. They're going to be back in focus today. You've got headlines involving Microsoft and OpenAI, SpaceX, tons to talk about this morning. Sharif, happy Friday. How are you today?
Good. Thank you, Adira. Starlink trying to throw their hat into the mobile ring here, challenging these wireless giants. Interesting take here from SpaceX. We've been talking a lot about how, they could be competitive with some of these incumbents. Also, USO continues to drop. Onsemi with a big acquisition here of Synaptics, $7 billion, give or take. I'm sure Neil will have more to say on that buyout. We got FDX Freight reporting for the first time. Good look there. And we got Apogee also earnings rally. And then Microsoft under scrutiny here by the Italian regulator for their Microsoft 365 pricing, something to keep an eye on. And Palantir, Adira, 7 straight days of selling. Tough look.
Yeah, rough look for some of these tech names, to be sure, guys, but certainly not a rough look over at the trading desk. We have Neil, and back with him again today is Joe. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Well, see, the good news is Palantir is actually up a point. Microsoft is up a point. Netflix is up 0.5%. I'm just looking at my quote board, which is not the entirety of the market. Unfortunately, everything else gapped out. It was a rough one. If you don't want to be SoftBank this morning, obviously, because overnight tech just put in a little bit of a turn. You can't ignore the elephant in the room. I saw multiple people in the chat talking about this already. The double top on the Qs, and the loss of the 50 period on the NQ yesterday. And this is a big day. Like, can we actually hold on to some of this? That's what made, I don't know, Micron feeling like it made a bit of a top. We talked about this possibility already, and literally overnight you heard OpenAI, now possibly we might not see that IPO till next year. So that's already been being discussed. Like, we were just throwing that idea out a little bit as a thought yesterday, and it was like, you're all doom and gloom. And all of a sudden it's looking like it's a possibility. They might push it back, citing sentiment reasons, but volatility is good because it creates opportunity out there. SpaceX and that 150 is going to be in play today. Bitcoin and that 60,000 once again going to be in play. But rough start so far. Apparently we have to replace Joe's. We got the mic issues already.
Like I've said anything.
I don't know. I just hear we already got to. See, this is what happens when. See, yesterday, Joe. This is karma, Joe. Because yesterday, if you were here and you stuck with us all day long, Joe had the band hammer out in the afternoon, which I actually admitted was probably reasonably justified in that situation. We had a poll about it and everything, and we allowed it under those circumstances after I realized why said person probably deserved the band hammer.
Listen, the people spoke. Neil, the people spoke.
It was like 50. It was 54-46. It wasn't like
majority. Hey, man, I am a man of the people. You know what Mike Tyson once said, right? said greatness is when you are amongst the people, when you have the ability to be amongst all of them. That is the true definition of greatness. And he's saying Floyd's a scared little man. He isn't great, right? Because he can't go out on his own and be amongst the people like Muhammad Ali and the Mike Tysons of the world right now.
That is
crazy that I'm kind of comparing myself to those two. No, but
that just happened.
Yeah. Hey, man, it is what it is. Live big, dream big. In all seriousness, guys, yeah, I mean, it's not ugly. I looked at my long-term portfolio this morning. Neil's like, what are you doing? I then proceeded to question myself and be like, what am I actually doing here? But anyways, aside from that, VIX is up 6%, guys. We're up to $20 here this morning. You have USO down 2.7%. And you just go across the board and you're looking for any signs of strength. And a name that's been beaten up the hardest, Microsoft, is one of the stronger tech names here today. So you get 1% on this bad boy, which I don't believe anybody's going to complain about at this point. So, I mean, it's tougher. What do you expect when you go on these big-time runs? Neil and I also talking about this leg here from late May all the way up to here. That additional 8% that you got, I feel, was slightly unnecessary. But this is what happens, man. Adara likes this one. You ride like lightning. Eventually, unfortunately, you're going to crash like some thunder here. I don't know if we're going to fall all the way back down, but at some point you're going to see a pullback, and it's not going to be pretty for everybody who's been buying up and around these all-time highs. So, and it's funny because I was mentioning to the group here, and I'm like, yeah, it's insane to think that at some point last year you were catching stocks at a 40% discount, right? Like that's crazy. So during the tariff tantrum, you had Nvidia down 43% from peak to trough. Now, are we going to fall into that neck of the woods now? No, I don't think so. But you're down 20% here in this in the highest market cap name in the stock market. It's unfortunate. It is what it is. But when you go on parabolic runs like the AMDs, eventually you're going to see some pullback, and it might get ugly for those people who are not willing to take any profits. So, yeah, a little bit tougher look this morning, but it's only one day. You got to zoom out. When in doubt, zoom out. And apparently, stonks only go up. So
that's not true.
Good stonks.
Good stonks only go up?
Yeah.
Sometimes good stonks, whatever we're calling them, they get smoked too.
They get smoked.
They get hit. They get bamboozled. They get hoodwinked. It happens. We've been talking about, one of the things that we've been talking about is for the Mag 7 and the big hyperscalers, is how Apple hadn't been one of those spenders and how that would insulate them some way. Yet now they start talking about spending a little bit more, and now they got to raise prices, and all of a sudden, look at what just happened to Apple. It went from boring to not really boring if you're a short seller. That's for sure last night. So, well, yesterday I should say. But you know, this one at least interesting because it's got the 200 period moving average, and it's not very often that you get that big of a move down in Apple. And most of the big ones, within a day or two, you see a bounce. Like big down day, bounce, down bounce, bounce. Sometimes you get a couple of days in a row, but it's a kind of stock, even if it's like a muted one, the most recent time that it had a big one and it bounced off a major moving average, you were able to catch like a scalp long off the low. Similar thing, if it holds a low, I mean, if it doesn't break the low, there's only one place to go.
Ooh.
That's one of my favorite sayings following a down day. It was Luca came up with that one. I was like, man, I like that. Because you're staring something down after like a disaster day. You know, it made a double bottom. It's like, well, you're just looking at something technically, and let's step back and just think of it that way. Well, if the market presses a little bit lower and this doesn't break that low, like you can do a heck of a lot worse than just playing off of something like that. So I got that on the mind at least a little bit here. On Apple. Adara just threw in the chat that everyone should watch The Place Beyond the Pines, which I haven't seen. So I'm trying to add. Where can I even watch that thing for free?
Probably on like Prime or something like that.
All right,
Yeah.
so add that to one of my lists. No, it's weird. Like it's like, yeah, I've never seen that movie. So
it's Cooper. It's Bradley Cooper. Yeah, Bradley Cooper in it as well too.
Ava Mendes, Dane DeHaan, Emery Cohen,
I've
a
not
lot
seen
of people
that.
who came up after that movie. It's a good movie.
So actually, it's a very, very good movie. an upper echelon movie.
Yeah, how have I not seen that? I look at that cast.
It's actually so good, and I like how it's broken up into 2 parts too. It's like
don't be spoiling stuff.
I'm not spoiling, man.
That's not a spoiler.
It's not a spoiler, man. It's like 2 different stories. But no, aside from that, man, any sports? Talk about how the Jays do last night. I didn't get to pick it up, or did they beat the Rangers or no?
So how about let's talk about AMC?
Oh no, that's
Wendy's
not
maybe.
good,
Is there any small cappers moving around that we can discuss? Man,
what happened though? I didn't even look at the score yet.
our ace had his worst start in forever last time,
Yeah.
and then I made a comment to my wife. I was like, it was early in the game. He gave up like a leadoff home run. And I'm like, wow, it can't be worse than last time.
What was Bieber up to?
And then I said it can't be worse than last time. Next thing I know, this dude's giving up 6 runs in 3 innings.
What happened?
We came back to make it 6-5 in the 9th, and then just couldn't get the last run. Went down, and I talked to my. There's one thing that grinds my gears, and I can even relate this back to trading. We lost by 1 run, and the last batter washed the pitch fastball right down the middle. When I coach my daughter's my daughter's team, 9-year-olds. I go, look, I don't want you to go down looking. Like, you can't go down looking at a pitch down the middle of the plate. You just can't do it. It's the equivalent in trading of I'm staring down SpaceX at 150.
Ooh.
I'm staring down the all-time break. Like, everyone's looking at that level. All-time low, it's an IPO. The all-time low is literally like last week. But you're staring it down. This is what it's been working to. You're a trader. You're looking for that short. It could break the level. You could fire the order, and there's so much slippage that you don't get the fill. That happens. That's happened plenty of times, right? Like, it breaks an even dollar. You don't cross far enough, you don't get the fill. Or it breaks, it's a false break, it snaps right back, and you get stopped out at the low or something like that. Ish happens. Or you go long off the bottom, it wicks you out, and then it goes to the high. But those moments, you're going to trade those moments. That's the idea. You can't go down. You just can't go down looking at a pitch right down the middle. Anyways, let's move on to a super chat, because obviously you can tell I wasn't happy with the game. Morning, are we shorting SLS on speculative news? Well, I'm not shorting anything with that volume. That's first. So I'm going to throw that out there. What's interesting when it comes to shorting something, and I meant to make this comment when Sharif was doing the opening crawl there, and he had said, oh, Neil probably has some things to say about ON and their all-stock acquisition. What is really not a very good sign of sentiment, it is perfectly normal in a large acquisition. It's a $7 billion acquisition they're making. It's perfectly normal when you have a big acquisition that's like mostly stock or all stock to see the acquiring company be down. To see it down 13% is a little bit different. And that speaks to, it's a double-edged sword here. It's sentiment plus how they're paying for the deal, which is to dilute. It's not a very good look for them. And I don't know that I've ever shorted Pops in an all-stock acquisition before, but this one is on my mind. Like, if this pops and tries to break out, I might be looking to fade into the gap on ON. I'm not really thinking SSR bounce or anything like that, but this is one it's a bit on the brain, man.
Okay.
A bit on the brain.
I hear you. Yeah, I mean, hey, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point this market finds a recovery. That's going to be a real sign of strength. See what DRAM's up to here today. It's $73, an additional gap down. I just felt like whatever we went through yesterday was unnecessary, and now we're giving back the majority of it there. So, I mean, DRAM right back down. We are, we fire everything right back up, 17%. Maybe we start to dabble in a little bit. You know how we say around these neck of the woods, guys, you don't put your full position in all at once. You start to grab a little here, a little there, just in case it gets pretty ugly, which Sharif said to me, Joseph, you seem awfully bearish on Nvidia as of late. And I am, full disclosure. I just don't know what's going on with this stock. fantastic blowout numbers, and it's just really, really not performing how you would expect it to, like some of these other names. But I mean, it comes from a growth standpoint too, right? When you're that big, it makes it a little bit more difficult to grow, and we say the same thing about Apple. So yeah, send it back to the desk, see what they're up to.
We're going to talk about some of these memory names here, which I think are worth discussing. Will come up again on the rundown, I'm sure. But in the meantime, I want to talk about QUCY. I've seen some people in the chat talking about this name. Quantum Cyberboard is the company's name. Apparently, they improve engaging investment bankers to acquire an equity stake in SpaceX. Now, this follows yesterday, Triller, that ILLR, which announced its own stake in SpaceX. I mean, Sharif, do you think this is like maybe the next crypto treasury type play with all of these small caps announcing some kind of stake in SpaceX here?
I have no idea, Dara. Taking me by surprise on this one. Not really an area I know too much about.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how this continues, because this is a really interesting pattern, I think, kind of similar to what we were seeing with those crypto treasury plays in early 2025 throughout the year from some of these small caps. But let's talk about MU. Micron here. This is actually near yesterday's session low. Lots of weakness in a lot of these other names. SanDisk traded even better than Micron on Micron's earnings, but they're gapping down. Memory pulling back sharply here. Yeah,
it is. It's a pretty aggressive move, and a lot of analysts are worried that the data center build-out could come to a halt or slow down, not halt obviously, but slow down significantly because of the increasing price of memory. Now, we saw Apple have to raise prices yesterday. We saw Microsoft have to raise prices yesterday specifically around this issue. So something to be concerned about here. Now, we are also talking from the consumer side as opposed to the hyperscaler build-out side. You're talking about demand destruction if prices continue to go up. And that's what I think the Apple sell-off yesterday, as I articulated on the midday show, is all about. The products that Apple announced yesterday that were getting price increases are not needle movers for Apple. They are a drop in the bucket relative to what they generate from iPhone sales. And so what my opinion is, the market is superimposing the increases on the products announced yesterday, whether it was iPads or the Mac Neo or the MacBook, whatever, those products. And it's saying, okay, if they're increasing it this amount on this product, then here's what we're gauging they're going to increase it on the iPhone. And if they increase it on the iPhone by this amount, here's how much demand destruction we gauge will be sort of manifesting. So this is my take on Apple. I think it's a dangerous spiral, Adara, especially for these consumer electronics makers.
Yeah, I mean, you had, of course, the Microsoft Xbox announcement as well, and Apple had its worst day in over a year yesterday. So I think these memory type stories absolutely on watch. Are you guys looking at any of these types of plays today?
Yeah. DRAM.
Yeah, DRAM.
And it was a nice bounce yesterday. You know what? Let's start. We got to start with Micron, I think.
I like QUCY. Thanks for pointing that one out, but it might
QCY.
Yeah.
But hold on a second. Is that the one they were just talking about for the
Quantum Cyber Board approved
the stake in SpaceX?
Accusation.
Okay, before we talk about Micron for a second.
Yeah.
Like, hold up. So what's the stock again?
QUCY.
QUCY. Okay, let's not leave this for a second. So you mean to tell me a small capper is running because they made an acquisition in SpaceX, which everyone thinks is an overvalued short-term investment? And that's why a stock that did this pump, is that a split? Maybe that's a split. Here, let me just pull it up on eSignal. QUCY here, and pull up on a daily. That was probably a split. No, it's not. So it did a pump and dump from 20 cents to 50, all the way back to 140. And then now you're going to tell me that is the reason why you get that bump? Yeah. Don't get me wrong, anything can make a secondary play, but I don't know how good I'd feel about that as a reason for this to have a continuous move.
Maybe this is the next Big 10 bagger right here.
Well, look, I mean, momentum can happen on anything for a reasonable period of time, I suppose. Yeah. But like that ain't right. I'm sorry.
It's going now, Neo.
Again, like it is. So this sort of reminds me of like remember when there were all of those space stocks that were running on the hype into the IPO for SpaceX. And one of them was Virgin Galactic. And it was so very obviously different from the other ones. We kept joking about it. And well, that's what that feels like to me. Anyways, back to Micron for a quick little second. Look, it wasn't where the expected bounce was. Like it did try to bounce here at 11.8, and then it eventually made the lows and trended higher. That 11.4 is where you got to watch. 11.4 and 12. right? Like that was the bottom end of that range in the morning, and then afternoon support. If we lose that, we're in a world of hurt. I'm going to prefer DRAM today. I just felt like it was pretty clean, and I like the way this is technically. Like it's the prior low is the high. You've got some unobvious 75 levels where I got the long yesterday multiple times. So I'm going to like the pre-market highs in that 75 for a fade. So turning a little bit bearish on these names is the profit taking just continues. Below a quarter, yes, but Micron trended down for like a week or so. It's done this in the past and pulled decent pullbacks. So I'm kind of thinking a little bit of the same thing here today. But if we do break out that pre-market high, that prior low, that 75 where the long emerged for good yesterday is going to be that spot that I would also look for the curls. So it might require some patience if we have a bit of a relief rally off of the open, but we're ready for it. We're ready for it. The same way that we're ready on a Friday, obviously, for some options talk. Or are we?
All right, guys, good morning and welcome. Let's take a look at some of the activity from yesterday's session. We're going to kick things off. Apple, a name that we've been talking about quite a bit here this morning, got hit the heaviest at the lows, down over 6%, guys. So what are we going to do? We're going to look at some resistance zones and then later on find out if there's any form of support in the near areas. Now, as for this $300 strike price, guys, bid in the ask is irrelevant, but what I want us to focus on right now is the open interest and the volume within this specific underlying. And our Greek metrics are relatively low. We'll talk about the at-the-money IV here momentarily, but 13,500 contracts at this $300 marker, and then volume around 15,900. Now, what I really want us to point out here is that on Wednesday, our top on the actual underlying, so if you go back a couple of days, you can see from an intraday session, 299.77 was that peak, and that's where we have that trend line drawn right across our chart. There is that open interest most definitely came into play. That's no coincidence, and the stock has yet had the ability to breach that. We are south of that level. Now, as for the at-the-money IV, guys, we're sitting around 43%, okay? So that was a top here on AAPL. Moving forward, let's see if we can find a potential bottom. Now, Apple, once again, at the top of our put activity. And why are we looking at this? I wanted to point out the volume at the money strike price here, just around the close, okay? So that 275 marker, once again, that contract that we were just looking at on the call side expiring today, and then we have this contract expiring today. And then around the close on yesterday's session is when you really start to see those positions being closed, all right? So 78,100 contracts at that level, and then also from the open interest standpoint, 3,480. Now, Robinhood, $90, guys. It's not looking too pretty in the fintech name, guys. We're going to be looking at the open interest. 3,970 contracts still open at that $90 level. We're going to be looking for potential bases. And the key thing is like, Joe, what are we talking about? They're going to be expiring today. Well, you want to look at the concentration and see how that's rolled over to next week. So as for now, we are going to be looking at today's expiration cycle, volume 5,620. And then we also have MSTR. This name has just continuously been getting beat up alongside Bitcoin, rightfully so. Volume 33,000 at this $80 strike price, and 7,790 as for the open interest metric. Moving forward, we're going to be looking at Wendy's. The people ask, the people get. Now we're going to be looking at the $9 strike price, guys. 10,000 contracts open at that specific level, and then 23,400 opened and closed on yesterday's session. Now, as for the bid in the ask, you are going to take into consideration it's a less than a $9 name, and you have a $5 spread, okay? Your delta sitting at 13, but what I found really interesting here is that your gamma, you have more gamma exposure than what you do in actual delta, which can cause for some sporadic movement and some crazy movement. So be cautious when you are trading these contracts. Now, our at-the-money IV is going to be extremely elevated, sitting around 201%. And now we're going to move forward, take a look at the actual contract itself. Nothing crazy, to be honest with you. We've seen some more appreciation in contracts like Micron, Apple, Nvidia's, the AMDs, and some of the other tech plays, but 245% from Wednesday session to the peak, but then it giving back the majority to the point where it's only worth $10 now at this point. So be careful. Watch out for that volatility decay. We'll be back momentarily with some upgrades and downgrades.
portfolio options. Do you remember the good old days when you could go outside without locking your door? You felt safe to walk down the street. Wendy's stock was trading at $9, and it was the next big, gigantic squeeze that was going to make you a millionaire. Well, that was yesterday, 24 hours ago. And then that happened. So I know we could always want something to be the next crazy squeeze, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen. That being said, there's something about these moves. If they never, like, it gapped up and it hasn't broken that low, held it yesterday. If it kind of sideways holds it today at no volume, don't forget about it on Monday or Tuesday of next week, because I think we've seen this before where you can maybe get that last little rally when no one's paying attention, but it's pretty key that it holds that low. I'm not really that interested in it today, but possibly something for next week that you could look at. We have Basu Games, thoughts on today potentially being a flush red. Well, we were just talking about, we opened the show talking about the double top and the Qs. You look at this consolidation under the 50 period, which is starting to form. I think this is awfully binary. And I'm pulling up the QQQ. I could pull up the futures. What would we be looking at on the Nasdaq futures? 90, so 29, 29.2 or so would be that low, maybe a little bit lower than that. But you look at the double bottom that got put in the last couple of days. Like that flush at the open bounced right off the prior day low. So you're looking at 704 in the Qs. Like from here, it's a tricky one. If you're looking short today and we don't initially bounce, like you're tight to that low. If we lose that bottom, whether it happens at the open, it's a Friday, so a lot of times it can be a little choppy at the open because of options expiration. You might get a little bit of chop. But if we lose that bid, the flush, how far it would go, you can just look back to the last end of the range here, which is at about 690. So it's not as if it's an absurd amount to the downside, but there's a bunch of names that have this profile on them where, hey, if we're going to lose that bid, like Nvidia is right at the 200-period moving average, holding on to this 192. We already showed Apple sort of at a similar level for a bounce. The one thing that's interesting this morning, I saw someone actually talking about this as well in the chat, possible software bounce. Like weirdly, the one place that's holding up this morning in tech is software names like Microsoft, Palantir. Like they're up a point. It's almost as if like they're trying to do this like semi-rotation thing. I guess it's not very strong. You look at the IGV, which is holding on a little bit. But to your point, but to go back to the point of weakness, one of the things that we don't always talk about on an everyday basis, but you can't really ignore, is where rates are or are not headed, and the likelihood that it could be to the upside is at least something that we're contending with. The Nasdaq has pulled back, and we just showed you losing the 50-period moving average. The Russell made it top yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Like this failed the high yesterday. So you could have this with a little topping tail and even a little bit of a rollover. Like that starts happening too. Like we already have, it was all Mag 7 in the big names yesterday. Like that's really what brought us down. Like it was not here. Like you literally made a high in the Russell yesterday. So if this loses the bid, I think that could be an even bigger problem. Because then it gets a little bit more broad and then you can get that panic feeling. But for now, that held up pretty well. Yesterday, the small cappers. So you had to take a bit of a more broad look. Like there's certain spaces that I'm more negative on. Like that's why I'm looking at DRAM and I'll be looking at IBIT short as usual. But you know there were some signs of not as nasty weakness yesterday.
I mean, Applied Materials hitting all-time highs yesterday. Shout out to these guys. Our boy behind us, ASML. Let's see what this one's up to here. That's a little bit off the highs, but nothing to write home about. 9%. Take that all day. Western Digital, SanDisk, SDX, DRAM. These guys are all down 5%. But I shouldn't say that. But I mean, come on. At the end, like every day for a couple of months, for it's like 6%, 7%, 15%, 20% here and there. It's just like, oh, now Sky is apparently falling, Sharif. We are down 5% in a single session. But no, in all seriousness, if you've had the ability to ride that wave, you're having a lot of fun. And then hopefully you're experienced enough to understand that the fact that, yeah, unfortunately, the stocks are going to start to pull back a little bit. I don't think it's anything crazy, to be honest with you. We talk about bottlenecks. JPM tapping into all-time highs yesterday, 343. We like that. Jeremy, shout out to him, Sharif. I know you're talking about what we have going on over there. I'm getting the green light to send it back over to the desk, but Goldman Sachs down 5.5%. That's stacking.
I want to talk these economic numbers that just came out here at 8:30 a.m. You had retail inventories, ex-autos. 4% here is the actual print. Prior here was 0.7%. Forecast was 0.1%. So the print for this number coming kind of in between those two prints. Actual goods trades and balance, negative 105.8 billion. That is going to be below the prior print here, or revised prior print of negative 83 billion. So a little bit of a drop there. Wholesale inventories month over month advanced for the month of May. 0.3% is the actual print. That is going to be above the prior print, below the prior print of 0.7, above the estimate here of 0.2%. Again, we have the much more closely watched economic data print coming at 10 a.m. with the University of Michigan consumer sentiment print, because that also includes an inflation element as well. It's going to be the 5-year inflation expectations and the 1-year inflation expectations, especially of note after some of the PCE data that we got yesterday in GDP. Let's talk here about another thing that is sometimes viewed in relation to inflation, of course, oil. USO back in focus. We had a little bit of a bounce yesterday, and even a bounce from the lows this morning as well. Still some geopolitical tensions on watch.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's really interesting what's happening here, guys, because what we're seeing now are separate shipping lanes starting to take hold. So just let me make this point for a second. You're seeing a shipping lane go through beside, I should say, the Omani coast, and then you have a separate shipping lane going near the Iranian coast, and nobody's going through the middle. And the reason they're not going through the middle is because it's believed, or at least there's concerns, that there's mines there that still haven't been cleared. So they're going through a very, very narrow lane, most of the ships through the Omani coast. So it's a trickle of what could actually be coming through the strait if the strait isn't entirely open. I think that that's going to have near-term pressure on gas prices, not maybe oil prices, because the market's always forward-looking, because you're not getting that supply back online. These ships take, sometimes 6 weeks to get to their destination. Let's also not gloss over the fact, Adira, that the Iranians fired upon a ship yesterday. This was reported to be a projectile. This is very, very reckless by the Iranians, who are basically, risking an environmental casualty here, because these are oil-carrying ships, some of them. And if the oil spills into the Gulf, goodness gracious, can you imagine the cleanup from that? So I don't think the situation is clear yet, Adira. It's improving, but let's see how this goes.
There's also, even just this morning, heightened tension here in Israel with Lebanon. You've got Israel's national security minister saying the ceasefire in Lebanon, quote, cannot hold. That comment coming a couple minutes after Lebanese state media reported that Israel's been dropping flyers in a southern Lebanese town, telling people to leave the area. This is apparently the first time this has happened since the ceasefire. So tensions definitely on watch here in Lebanon and Syria in particular as well. Apparently also, we talked about that trade deficit widening. I just want to go over that again. That came in at negative 105.8 billion for trade. That was way worse than the 85 billion expected. So that is going to be on watch as well, as we send you back over to Joe and Neil.
For now, nothing too crazy. But if you gotta remember, like yesterday, the USO was just this, forever bid all day long. And it's like it wasn't the reason why things were weak, but it certainly didn't help things at all. Yeah, none of the 830 numbers really moving around the SPY. So I don't want to call it like a nothing burger. I guess we'll get Michigan at 10, and we'll see how that We'll see how that one ends up working out. But I don't know if I'm that keen on the oil names. I know yesterday when we had this uptrend, I was looking at that battle stock and thinking, okay, well, if it keeps going, like that could be a bit of a fade. But there's just not a lot of action here. You're right back down. This feels very much, it's just in the midst of an unwind, and like you had that nice little hiccup yesterday, but when we talk about a downtrend, some people, I think we overrate moves like this. In anything that doesn't matter, anything that has a downtrend, you'll overrate bounces like that because they look really good on your 3-minute chart or your 5-minute chart or whatever it is that you're looking at. And then maybe you get a headline with it that makes you think like, oh no, attack here and all rhetoric there. But we don't break anything significant. You go right into the most obvious level and start turning, and then you're right back down. So downtrend is a downtrend at this point. I think if you're looking at oil or energy, you got to keep it in that context. There are some places where there can be some interest. And, there was a question. Someone just tagged me here. This is interesting because I can tie this in. Stoge M, did you make any new long-term purchases for your personal portfolio? If so, what names, if you can share? There's nothing that I haven't told you guys about because like I got into so I plan on owning SpaceX for like a full position in my long-term portfolio. I'm in like 7% of what I want. I made that one purchase, that sink bid, and I'll get another tranche in probably in front of the 35 and be up to like 20%, and then I'll leave that alone till the end of the year before I'd consider buying any more. I've bought some AbbVie. I think I've mentioned that for a bit of like a rotation play.
Yeah.
But like in terms of like tech names, no. But see, the reason I'm tying it in right now is that Chevron's back at the Venezuela high price. So like in this pullback, remember when that was actually the story, and you had that big jump up in Chevron because they're the ones already operating there. So it's making a bit of a bounce off of that level, and it's at the 200-period moving average. So I was actually considering making this purchase today. I probably will just to add to it. I've typically only ever bought this stock in the recently in the 140s. If you go back, put up like a monthly chart or weekly chart, you'll see the obvious reason why like the 140 area was really good. And that's generally where I've been buying it when it dips under 150. But I think I might like that 200-period moving average as well. I might put some of that into the, I already have it, just might add to it. Because for the things that I've trimmed, like 10% off of like an Intel or 20% off of like an ARM, I don't sell it all. Yeah. I want to look to some other places to be able to deploy that. So Chevron is actually one that here, I'd probably go ahead and pull the trigger on that. If not next week when I'm on vacation, I might do it at lunchtime today. Just get a tranche in.
Yeah, I'm sitting on like a little bit over 10% cash. I've been buying some Google currently right now, sitting on more actually, to be honest with you. Offloaded a bunch of Bitcoin in the 40s and in the 50s. Via that is, sold some other things as well too. Oh yeah, Netflix, we got all out of that thing. I'm like, what's going on here? So we're sitting on a bit of cash. What I've been grabbing as of late is Google. Grabbed a little bit of that, nothing substantial whatsoever. TKO Holdings, and then I've been buying JPM via CDR, and then for some reason I'm just continuously buying Nvidia, and it's funny because I talk bearish about the stock, but anyways, at the end of the day, I'm still buying it up, and I'm probably going to buy a little bit more here momentarily at 193, and then I have to buy some more probably at 180, and then at 170. So, Joe, with the white tea, living dangerously on beer and pizza day. Oh, okay, yeah. I see what you're saying. Hey, man, I'll tell you this for free. I thank you, Fuji. I'll tell you this for free. Your boy will not be drinking any beer. And if we do, it'll maybe be one slice of pizza, but I think that's going to be even a little bit of a stretch there because I got the carb police behind me, Sharif. Always like, yo, you eating that, man?
The what?
The carb police, man. So I gotta watch out with what I eat around here. So no, I'm only messing around. But no, in all seriousness, guys, I think sitting on a little bit of cash is pretty good. I'm glad that I offloaded a lot of assets here. Netflix has been getting beaten to a pulp, unfortunately, which isn't very, very good. This guy loves it. I better tap in just in case we get ready for NOSPOS. But yeah, dumplings and stuff for breakfast, not too bad. We got Michael in the building this morning as well too. No Randy. He typically has Fridays off. He's gone. Yeah, he's usually off. But guys, I was talking about if you're looking for signs of strength, right? Like NASA, this ETF just absolutely getting destroyed. Your boy bought it all the way up here at 40s, and then I actually just offloaded it at like $35. I'm like, what am I doing? I got to be a little bit more patient on this here. Nothing substantial. Anyways,
that's a good super chat.
Is there a good super chat? We'll pull it up there. We'll get ready for that. There's DXYZ as well. I'm just getting destroyed.
Ooh.
Oh.
There's no reason to have owned once SpaceX was launched. The DXYZ didn't have a purpose, in my opinion. Rushi, as 26-year-old, nice and young. You're young, man. That's the thing is, it's so much easier when you have like pullbacks and whatever the market's or feels like doom and gloom. Better perspective when you're younger. I tend to mix up between my trader mindset and investor mindset. Is there any advice how to manage those, like short trade, Nvidia, don't sell? You know, so the crazy thing is, if I got to be as real as possible. When I started out, when I started trading in 2003, like I was a day trader, and also, you know, you have your own personal investment account. You know how I used to manage that? I would literally never talk about, when other traders would talk about like long-term stuff, I would just not speak about it. Dude, on the trading floor. I'm like, I'm not bringing it up. Keep it to myself. Something in my long-term goals. I'm not celebrating it. I'm not engaging in that discussion. I just kept it to day trading when I was on the trading floor. And the irony is, now obviously I don't do that anymore because we're on the show, and it's fine. But that actually trained me to, when I am in front of the screen as a trader, that is the only mindset I would have. And maybe that's not an easy thing to do. Like I would shut off the macro stuff and try to like tune that out. I would never bring up or sign into my long-term account while I was on the trading floor. I didn't. Probably the first time I ever did it was after this show when we'd talk about it more and be more open. But I trained myself for a very long time. Why didn't you tell me that an hour ago? I did tell you not to look, but I said don't call it up. No, but that's just the work for me. It's almost like it has to be two different parts of your brain, because that's exactly the problem. You might find yourself in I think right now momentum short Nvidia, like you're saying, but you don't want to panic sell it in your long term, and then you start overreacting. That kind of a hard separation is what works for me, and then now I can do it without having that problem, because for like 18 years or whatever it was, that's just how I trained myself. And like all I can say is it worked. Like there were traders on the floor would constantly talk about it. There was one guy, and I won't name any names. If one of his holdings reported earnings and was down, oh, for the love of, it's like he'd be sitting there talking about the report. He's like, but they beat this, and look at the metrics. And then you know what would happen that day?
He lost his head.
Trust. He shut down averaging long into the stock as a day trade.
It doesn't matter, man.
Like clockwork for that.
Whatever you think about the fundamentals, it does not matter. They can have a fantastic report, NVDA, right? It doesn't matter. The stock's not going to do probably. It's not going to do what you want it to do. It's going to do what it wants to do. But in all honesty, I didn't even know about day trading until I was about 28, 29 years old. I knew about investing, but I didn't know you could be, because I was using TD, right? This is a completely different app. So I'm just like buying and selling on my phone in my early 20s. And then I'm like, okay, hold on. There must be a little bit more to this. And then that's when I started reading books and doing all my due diligence. And then sure enough, when I was about 28, 29 years old is when I actually started understanding day trading, which was, I mean, hey, you have a pretty broad horizon. Like 26, you're still young. Just separate the two, exactly what Neil said. You have your investment account, and there's no better time to start than now, in my opinion.
I'm assuming you have two separate accounts. Like the thing is, if you
that's
my assumption. If it's all in, like if you have one account that you have your long-term holdings in,
two totally different things.
And also
separate those.
That you're trading in.
Two totally different brokerages.
That's not easy to
Don't
do.
day trade your long-term account.
Because to me, that's a hard separation.
Yeah.
It's easy if you're trading prop, like it's implicitly the case. But if you're, that's a different story. I don't know. You know what? The chat, I'd love to hear the chat's thoughts. If that's your situation, what would you do?
Yeah, Hamster, to be honest with you, I did, man. I was fortunate enough to be in a position where, the cost of living was significantly lower a decade ago in the city, and I was just in a good position where I could save quite a bit of money. And with that being said, I put it into the marijuana stocks, and I just happened to so be in at the right place at the right time. I was lucky, and that kind of just gave me a nice buffer for a couple of years there. And then, I mean, obviously, you're young and you don't make obviously the best financial decisions. Not saying that I didn't or anything along those lines. We had some fun with it as well too. But yeah, I was fortunate. I was in that camp where I was in a position to have a separate account when I got a little bit older, have the long-term account as well too, and then have your day trading account. So yeah, I mean, save money, invest it in some high quality names. Avoid the speculation. Use different money, expendable money, at that, and save something. Like Neil said, man, don't look at on days like this. Don't look at your long term account.
Yeah, like if there's something actionable that, okay, there's this stock that I was planning on buying and it hit this price in the long term. Okay, that's one thing, but if you do that now, you'll look at Micron. Literally, you'd be like, oh my goodness, look at this chart. Micron's at yesterday's lows after earnings and down 6%. Oh, I got to sell all of my you could get into that. You could get that kind of feeling. I don't know. Like the market actually did just take a bit of a dive to the downside. You might say, oh no, not again. Crypto to the lows. Nothing really happened in the last couple of minutes. Like we had the numbers at 8:30 and then we just sort of glided a little bit lower. But you can get that. You're going to get analysis paralysis, I think, in a situation where, we want to be, like if there are two different types of brains. And in one, you want to have a time horizon, which is on the years. And speaking of time horizons, we've got one of our favorite guests, not on the horizon, right now. Michael Moss is in the building. We always have him on Mondays and Fridays, and good to see him again. So let's throw it up to there.
Welcome back, Michael Moss with Stats Edge. I'm really excited to get into this topic. I think it's a really interesting one. But let's start with, how are you doing, Michael? Happy Friday. How's your week been?
I've been doing fantastic. It's been a little choppy, but no, we'll take it. We were due. We were due. I think I was hearing in the green room them saying the same thing. It's like you can't have SanDisk going up 1,000% without a couple 20% pullbacks along the way.
And let's talk about one name that did pull back really sharply, not 20%, but AAPL. I understand you want to talk about yesterday's drop, and I think this is a really interesting topic.
Yeah, so this is one of those things that the research started in one place and kind of ended in another, and that's the most interesting thing of kind of what I do following the statistics behind it. I wanted to see, because I was actually very impressed yesterday with the sell-off we saw in Apple and Nvidia and some of these names, how well the market held up. And that's something I could talk about on Monday. It was very much showing that there was a lot of other kind of strength under the hood there. And I just wanted to see if there was any kind of prediction value in that when you have some of the largest names sell off and the market holds relatively steady, what ends up happening. So I can wrap that up quickly. I wasn't able to find anything, but it made me start to look a little bit closer into this Apple decline because Apple's been around for a long time. So it means we can get a decent amount of data for what happens when Apple drops like this. And I'll talk about a trade I took based off of this data last night. So, this is just, first of all, this is the chart. If you were living under a rock, I guess, Apple dropped around 6% or so yesterday, just saying, hey, we got to raise prices on our computers and things like that because of AI. So I just went and looked at it and said, okay, let's first just take a look at what happens every time Apple declines 5%. What happens in the coming days after that? Is this a good buying opportunity or not? And this is often how I make what I call kind of semi-discretionary trades. I like the area that it's pulling back to on the chart. I like a lot of the technicals behind it, but I want to make sure there's some statistical advantage in what I'm doing. So I just went with the data I have and just tested what happens if it declines over 5% and you buy it. What happens later? So first of all, there's some statistics in the next slide here where we have a decent amount of data because I separated them out, and we'll talk about why I did that in a second, to times that it's done this above the 200-day moving average and times that it's done this below the 200-day moving average. And you can see, across both of them, it's like 300 or so times that this has happened. So, it's not a relatively kind of basic study. There's 300 inputs, I think, is enough to kind of hang your hat on and say, okay, there might be some statistics here as well. So 128 times above the 200-day moving average, 187 times below the 200-day moving average. The next chart is really where things start to get interesting here, this bar chart. So day one, so the green bar is what happens when the decline happens above the 200-day moving average. And then the orange line is what happens when the decline happens below the 200-day moving average. So you can see right off the bat, it's better to buy for 1 day, 1 week out if you get a 5% dip above the 200-day moving average. There seems to be roughly a 60% chance of some sort of snapback rally within that first kind of 1 day to 1 week time frame. However, if you start to look longer out, it ends up being completely different, where these sell-offs are almost, for at least for Apple, kind of warning signs, where if you look kind of 1 month out or even 1 year out, it is now, if you're above the 200-day moving average and you get these sell-offs, this is a longer-term warning signal for Apple, because there's kind of less than a 50-50 chance that it's up. And you got to imagine, if you pick a point in time in Apple and you just put your finger on that chart randomly, there's going to be a 60+% chance that you're up 3 months or a year later, right? Just because we know Apple has gone up over time. So trying to pull out that look ahead bias and just saying, hey, this is worse than average. And then the other side flips. If you're below the 200-day moving average and you have these sell-off, that first month or so is generally weak, but then later it ends up being kind of a washout. So some interesting data there on that as well. So next one, just taking a look, if we're looking at the short term, right, this is kind of 1 day after, again, around a 60% chance that we're green. Interesting, I'm looking down now and we're already up around 0.8%. And you can see there the median return after a 5% down move is like 0.8% up. And we are right now. And if we're below the moving average, then we actually move lower. But this pullback above the moving average is kind of interesting. And just to talk about the trade I took quickly, is I just bought some AAPU, I think it is, just a leverage version, just based off of this slide right here, the statistic. There's 60% chance that we're up tomorrow. So I look at it and I say, well, that's an interesting area. Let me take that little shot, knowing that I'll make around 1%, give or take, right? It's very small edges, but if I can stack enough of these together, it ends up being a pretty good year. So the next couple charts are just spaghetti charts. Again, I love these, where you have all of these lines that you're kind of seeing fade above and below, or every time you had this drop, what the path is. You can see strong for a week. You generally get a nice push up after that, and then actually pushes down if you're above the 200-day moving average. And this next chart is the opposite, in which it's no bounce right away. Just the next slide there. This is what happens below the 200-day moving average. There is no push up, and then later you end up getting a push up. So next down here, just really quickly. So sorry, one more down there. And yes, perfect. So if you're looking for a long-term signal, it seems like it is 70% of the time Apple is just up in a year time, but it's only a 54% chance it's going to be up after the sell-off that we had. So again, this is a warning shot. It's not, these are statistics, so anything can happen, but it's a warning shot when these things generally occur. So the next chart here is just kind of showing what just Apple does on average. And you can see on average, Apple kind of drifts up. And this what make it really significant to me that, again, 1 year out from the sell-off, the chart doesn't look like this. The chart is actually pointing down. So a 6% move in Apple is a pretty big one. So the last two slides is just kind of summarizing it up, is that short term, that sell-off that we had in Apple seems like there can be a playable bounce there for people who like to play that stock. Long term, however, that's a bit of a warning sign when this happens above the 200-day moving average, because a giant company like this generally doesn't move 6% in a single day, because if you think of the market cap move that was, you're talking hundreds of billions of dollars in market cap kind of gone in 1 day. So that's what I was looking at there. That kind of summarizes what I was overall studying there for Apple. So the game plan, like I mentioned, is when I did this, I was doing this last night right after the close, I just bought some Apple, knowing that I have a 60% chance of that one day up move. But based off what's going to happen kind of in the longer term, I'm very quickly going to get out of this trade And it just leaves some room for thought. If one of the largest companies in the world now has this statistical chance of being down, I don't know, is that going to drag everything with us? We didn't see that yesterday, but just something to think about.
This is fantastic work, and thank you so much for going over that. And there is one thing that really stuck out to me that I want to ask you about, because I love this type of analysis. This was so fun to hear. So yeah, it's really interesting how, again, if it's below the 200 DMA, if it's generally beaten up, it does better longer term. But also, you did contextualize this. When you have a lot of data points, this is a very well-established company. So I guess just for our viewers, and because I think it's a really interesting point, I guess what would be the difference between buying a stock like Apple below the DMA for the longer term versus a name that's gotten beat up significantly, like, I don't know, Nike, TDD, one of those type of names below that DMA as well? I guess just to kind of make that distinction, because obviously with Apple, there's a lot more data behind this. I don't know if that made sense.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot more data behind it. But one thing that we have to do when we're looking at statistics like this is really think about and make sure that in our head, we're pulling out the look ahead bias. And by that, I mean, we know that Apple's a strong company and it's close to all-time highs. And knowing that going into these statistics, you have to kind of take a look at that and pull all the statistics down a bit. That's why I did that baseline of like 60 to 70% chance that it's up anyway. So we're looking for kind of moves above and below that for that anytime you go 3 months to kind of 1 year out. But I think the major thing is just how big and important the company is. And this is, I guess, no offense to anyone who really likes Nike or owns some, but Nike could disappear tomorrow. And most people's lives really wouldn't be that affected. When you're talking about a company as huge as Apple, if this thing draws down 20, 30, 40%, you have broad market ramifications for it. And that, I think, makes it a little bit more impactful to look at because it's involved in so many indices and things like that. So just a larger, more important company, I think you can do this kind of statistics with, whereas something like Nike, it could be done forever at this point, and it just really wouldn't affect too much.
Yeah, thank you so much for making the distinction. I think, again, as someone who tries to do like this type of research as well, it's always really important to know what's maybe statistically significant and what's not. So thank you once again for a very thought-provoking and fascinating, and I think very revealing conversation here in AAPL. Where can the people find you if they want to learn even more?
Yeah, statsedgetrading.com is my website, and then Michael Noss, CMT on all the socials.
Michael Noss, CMT, great social follow and great conversation here. You can catch Michael with us every Monday and Friday around 8:30 a.m. Hope you have a great weekend, Michael. Happy early Canada.
Have a good one. I'll talk to you next week.
Talk to you next week.
Fantastic stuff, as always, by Michael Noss. Make sure you guys join us bright and early Monday morning. He will be with us once again. All right, guys, speaking of one of the names, we're going to be taking a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. Nike at the top of our downgrade list, overweight to sector perform here by KeyBank. No specific price target on this one, guys, but the athleisure wear, the apparel brand, just continuously getting hit day after day. We're down 0.8% here this morning. Now we got the Onsemi purchasing this company, guys, Synaptics. 3.4% to the top side, but going from a buy to a hold, no price target there, guys. Need him giving them the downgrade. Now we have Spire also getting the downgrade. JP Morgan going from an overweight to a neutral here, guys, with an $85 price target. That's actually up from $84. We're down just a little bit under 0.4%. Now, Trip.com also getting the downgrade, going from an outperform to a neutral with a $44 price target. We're down 0.3% there. Now, moving forward, let's take a look at some more positive things. Fuel Cell, FCell here, guys, we're up 3.6%, going from a hold to a buy and a $24 price target. That's up from $16. Now, Barnes & Noble, NEO, 1.64%, going from a hold to a buy, $16 price target there, getting the nod by need him. Qualcomm, once again, getting the okay here, buy to a hold with a $265 price target from DZ Bank. And then we also have Crocs, up 1.5% here, guys, going from a neutral to an overweight with a $150 price target. That's up substantially from $95. Piper Sandler giving them that nod. Let's send it back to Neil.
Thanks, Joe. I can't be the only one that noticed. Joe is now using the regular Nike logo on the upgrades and downgrades. Does that mean it is time for Nike to be bought? It doesn't. I just find it interesting because you had the one that was like bleeding all over itself, or or melting, I think was the better way to look at it. But that's just something fun. I don't know why Nike gets bagged on a lot for, I suppose, good reason. But more importantly, Qualcomm just had some good news recently, and it's been a pretty solidly performing stock. But you look at some of the patterns here on a Qualcomm, like it's been bouncing 190, but it's got like a head and shoulders look on it with that bottom 190 now threatening that it's going to get tested. This is probably more of a next week kind of deal, because just seeing like it's down 2.7% to get to 190 from here, you're going to have to be down 7.5%. It's just not, that's seemingly unlikely, not impossible, but seemingly unlikely that you'd get there and break down underneath. But if this loses 190, like that's pretty appealing at the 200 period moving average on Qualcomm. Very appealing at that 200 period moving average. So this loses 190 next week. Like that seems like a stink biddable price, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Because I like the old stink bid.
We have
in there.
We have a couple of super chats here, Nilo, that we're going to go through before we send back and go through our rundown here quick. Satyam Dixty 2215 got some equity in ADUR. How long should I hold? Well, ask yourself multiple questions. Where did you buy it? When did you buy it? And where are you looking to take some profit? Now, here's this specific name, right? This has been on a big-time run, actually. If you look at it, we're on a weekly chart right now. So you get 273% from last year, but just write out your game plan. Right? Like, okay, if it breaks the all-time high here, you're going to take some profit off. If it breaks the low at 13, you're going to look to take a little bit, reduce your exposure, maybe even buy a little bit more if you really like the stock. But this is a range that you can essentially gauge here and be like, hey, this is where I'm going to look to get some off, or maybe buy some more. And this is where I'm going to look to take some off here as well at the break of $18. But where you're in at, how much percentage gain have you had? Is it overweight in your portfolio? But you have a nice little range right here that you can play with. So maybe in the middle you want to take some off as well. So that, I mean, don't give yourself necessarily a timeline. Use the technicals, in my opinion, to just really gauge what you're going to do with that stock next. Hopefully that helps you. And then Muffins B2F with a $99 super chat has the weight there on the side. So anyway, let's see who's calling me here now. All right, sure, Mace. I don't know what this is, man. We'll see. We'll figure that out. But other than that, guys, let's set it over. We're gonna run through. There's another one to pull it up there, Assassino.
What we got here?
Oh,
we did get to this one.
We did this one. That's all
We
good.
shut it up, Rushi.
Pull up the Muffins one. They got the weight there. Yeah, Muffins.
What kind of muffin? I like the blueberry's pretty good.
I like carrot muffin.
Carrot muffin's good. Apple cinnamon muffins look good too. We had a super chat without a text. You can just shout out the name.
Yeah, Muffins, man.
Oh, straight up? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Let us know what your favorite muffin is in the chat. I think you can't go wrong. Maybe not the healthiest pastry out there, if we're being real about it.
You want to be honest with
you? Tasty.
I couldn't even tell you the last time I had a muffin.
You don't really eat much fun food, do you? Like, you don't eat cookies.
No, I got Sharif's always watching.
You don't eat apple pie. You're threatening not to eat any pizza or have any beer when we literally got super chats for Friday pizza and beer. Is there anything else you want to let us know that you're just not going to be eating? I'm just having fun.
What's that? What's for lunch?
I don't know what lunch is, to be honest. I haven't looked yet. No, it's 9. We're not doing what's for lunch. It's 9 o'clock. At 9 o'clock, we have a half an hour to the open in a market that is down. We got to get to the desk. We got to talk some futures, get into the free watch list. We could worry about lunch in like 2 hours or so. I've never had. No, don't know what it is.
Lemon meringue pie.
Cinnamon muffins. That'll work too. Coffee cake. That'll work too.
I have an espresso here.
I could eat all of this stuff.
I think carrot muffin is the best muffin. I've never had anything outside of that, anyways.
Now, banana
muffins. I tried like a blueberry. Never.
All right, we got to get back to the desk because my stomach is actually going to start growling.
Adam James, $2 super chat. SHPH. Joey, 500K. Float. Let's go. All right. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you, my guy. We're going to be taking a look at it right now. Let's send it back over to the desk. It's now 9:03.
Carrot muffin.
Oh, great.
Oh my God. All right, guys. 734 and a third is where we closed out yesterday on the SPY. We are already losing that level and then some, down 0.75%. Guys, we're below 730, and that is the level that we have been talking about as a key area of support for the last basically all week. And as you see here on the chart on the right, we have been defending that level quite staunchly. But by the same token, we've been rejecting 740 over and over. So that flat bottom break ended up giving out this morning. It held up yesterday, but it gave out this morning. So here's the deal. We're looking at this area low. This takes us back to June 10th when we sold out quite aggressively. The low there is 722.5. That is going to be our first level of, or second level of support. If we lose 725, of course. If we start trending back up, look for 730 Adair as resistance.
And always look at our Trader TV Live watch list because it is free. And it can come to your inbox directly every day the markets are open. How do you ask? Well, you have to subscribe. Again, free to do so. You can use that URL on the screen, but that's obviously, not easy to see. So you can just go into the link in the description of wherever you're watching this and grab that free watch list for insights, info, and everything you need to know to tackle the markets. At the top of said watch list today and at the top of our rundown, these memory names, including Micron, MU. Great look here, and I'll show a 15-minute to zoom out a bit. We had this awesome gap up for this earnings report. Closed decently here, but MU back at yesterday's intraday lows. Memory stocks absolutely in focus along with chips today, Sharif.
Adira, there is not one semi stock, microchip, semi, whatever you want to call it, on my watch list, and it's quite exhaustive that it's green on the day. We are selling off quite aggressively, and we typically see this. These things sell off as a group. So why? Micron had fantastic earnings yesterday. Why are we reading through negativity? Because analysts are worried that AI infrastructure spending as well as the broader tech demand could get hurt as these margins continue to go up and up and up. We saw Apple raise prices yesterday, and we saw the precipitous decline in the stock price. We saw Microsoft in their Xbox division cite storage, cite RAM as, price pressures and constraints in supply as well. So I think that the market likes that these individual companies that are selling HBM and DRAM are making a lot of money, but they're reading through that this could have demand destruction as well as a slowdown in AI spending, Adair.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything in that chip and memory space in focus. Which ones are you guys looking at this morning?
DRAM.
Yeah.
I think for the trade after yesterday, I like the way it moved. Expressing one of the things that happened on DRAM, and I'll get there in a quick little second, is as this up move was being made in Micron here, DRAM was holding the line at a pretty key level. It was chopping up and down in Micron, but this found a key level at that 75 and then to 74.5 and was just nice into that price and pretty clean into VWAP multiple times off of that price. So that gives me a nice line in the sand if we get any kind of a pop. Now, obviously, the market's headed down here for now. So if I'm favoring the short side of the trade, which I said to you guys yesterday, if Micron can't hold on to, if you don't hold on to the first consolidated dip buy lows after that gap up on earnings, then it's like hunting for a bottom. So in the event that we cannot hold underneath here, I think you're hunting for a low. And even if you bounce, I want to play the range on that DRAM. So it'll be 73.5 on DRAM for me and 75 even. 73.5 is just the pre-market high, the prior low. The 75 is the spot where it was the long. I'm going to be trying to fade those levels. But the way that we're dropping now, I feel like it's going to be a very, very patient moment because it's a lot easier to say that when we're kind of cresting VWAP and a subtle move might be able to get you there. Now it looks entirely differently at some of these lows. From a higher time frame thought, though, on Micron, just remember, this has been bouncing. Forget about the 50 period for now. This has been bouncing on a pretty distinct trend line. So we get down there today between 1050 and 1075. I'm not saying we would get there today, but hey, you throw this stuff out there just in case you can. That would be the area where it's been able to catch the bounce going all the way back to May. So I think you got to be cautious of that. If Micron loses the trend next week, that obviously is going to mean some pretty negative things given the quarter that they had, right? If this breaks down structurally on the chart after what was an absolutely blowout quarter, when you compare it to Nvidia a year ago, we were saying this yesterday, it would make this seem incredibly undervalued, maybe like 3 times undervalued. But that would be making a bunch of assumptions about things continuing as they are, which I don't think the market is as enthusiastic about. So I'm going to be shorting pops in DRAM today.
Fantastic numbers, yeah, obviously within Micron, $100 billion in RPOs. I mean, this stock went on an absolute parabolic run, but now you're down 7%. I think this is going to be, shortly, it's going to have a good time to buy it, a good opportunity to buy some of these names. We talk about DRAM as well, too. The majority of its holdings, Neil, are SK Hynix and Samsung. About 50% of the actual ETF is under those 2 names specifically. So here it is, 1,000%, guys, from September, almost a year ago. You can't really ask for much more, and if you do have some chances to take some off the table, trim, now would be probably a pretty good time. If you do get any form of a pullback to $800, I mean, I think you'd be really lucky at that point. That's a 35% pullback. But when you have the volatility in your average true range really start to expand, you can see the volumes really starting to increase as we continue to move higher and higher, right? What goes up must come down. I don't know if that's necessarily the case in some of these strong names, but I'm going to be looking around that. Where are we currently? We hit 20% a couple of days ago. So I think this is something reasonable where I would personally start dabbling in it. Neil, you also mentioned the CDR. Now we can get this name, and that's where I'm going to be looking at this. DRAM, if you don't mind, can I get a couple of, can I get the shorts for that as well too?
The CDR?
Yeah, no, for DRAM.
Oh, yeah.
You have to get locates here for DRAM. But this is another thing, right? Like as soon as this thing came to market, $25, 213% from April. Okay, so I mean, if you were someone buying up in this area, you've been doing pretty good for yourself. Pullbacks are completely healthy. You want to see this, and it's unfortunate. The good times don't seem long enough, and then the bad times just seem worse when they come. That's just the narrative of the market. I think these are good buying opportunities. When I say, like I said it not too long ago, when in doubt, zoom out, and this is going to be a good opportunity. If we're going to bottleneck from a demand standpoint for the next year and a bit, 2 years potentially, then I like the opportunity to buy some of these names off the dip because I didn't get to participate how I would like to on the way up. I mean, I have some other chip names. I'm involved with Google. I'm involved with Nvidia. So I have the tech exposure. But when this specific sector is moving, then I would like to participate in it as well. Could I be wrong and could I be buying somewhere around the top and it goes into a multi-year bear market? Maybe, potentially. But I told you guys on multiple occasions what my key metrics that I'm going to be looking at to see when things are going to start to cool down. But all right, good stuff, man. SpaceX in focus. Let's see. NASA, I was talking about that not too long ago. Let's see what the desk thinks.
SpaceX, I feel like always in focus as of late, but I think certainly worth talking about. You have a Starlink-related catalyst as SPCX tries to hold on to this 149.50 area. We are below that 150 price, Sharif.
Yeah, that concerns me very little here, Adira, at least in the long term. But this is very...
Oh, you're muted, sorry.
This is a very, very interesting development here, guys, because Joseph and I have been talking about this on the midday show, I think, for the past possibly 6 months or so. Do these low Earth orbit satellite operators pose a threat, a direct threat, to the traditional incumbent telecom providers? I'm talking about AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, whoever, because this is exactly what SpaceX is gearing up for here. And they were doing it before they went public with the acquisition of EchoStar back in September of last year for $17 billion, 8.5 in cash, 8.5 in stock. So they bought the physical radio wave asset required to legally operate in the terrestrial mobile network, so on the ground. But it's not that easy, Adira. There's a lot more here than meets the eye. So just to look at the incumbents right now, let's take Verizon, let's take T-Mobile, let's take AT&T. Combined, they have 1,020 megahertz of radio spectrum. Just by comparison, SpaceX acquired about 65. So what does that mean? That means that they can't operate in an urban area. They can only operate in, remote areas outside. So what's their plan? How are they going to do this? They're just going to become a remote telecom company? No. What they want to do is they want to make contracts with these existing incumbents to route urban traffic through an existing carrier's physical towers via wholesale roaming agreements, and then seamlessly kind of transfer them to SpaceX's direct low Earth orbit satellites once they leave the urban area. So that's their move until they acquire more spectrum, which they'll probably do either through acquisitions or the bidding process in the government, just like the regular telecoms do. But this story is even a bit more deeper, because T-Mobile, for the last couple of years, has actually been helping SpaceX directly get the licensing requirements to put up the infrastructure, also that it can offer cell service through low Earth orbit satellites. But SpaceX is kind of betraying T-Mobile here. They're turning on them, and they're going to compete directly with them if this actually goes through. Very interesting story, Adara.
Are you guys interested in SpaceX today?
We are. And I think ultimately, in the long run, you know, when Elon talks about the total addressable market and you see some of those numbers, you have to understand that they're building something, as she said, which can be huge. That being said, for now, a lot of the talk has been the valuation is stretched. Look, we're at 150, barely underneath it. There was a bounce earlier this week. It was on Tuesday. You had that great bounce off of the 150 level. You had a muted bounce the day after. All weakness going into it today. If this breaks the low, I'm going to take the shot. So we said we liked the bounce initially when it did, but underneath that price, there's the issue at 135. So I'm looking short. It was 147, 147 change was the actual low in here. So I'm going to look short if that breaks. All of that said, I'm also probably going to try to find myself in, if it doesn't immediately blast down to 147, like if it does a failed break of 150 here, like it tries to get back, sorry about these dark pool wicks, if it tries to get back above 150 and fails that, I might take a quick short to this local high into the 147, but I'm favoring the south side on SpaceX. And you know, if we can't hold 150, to me, that's just a sign that you're headed to the 135 level. We saw it with you know who yesterday, Cerebras, whatever the heck you're supposed to call it. It's the recent IPO that lost its bid and lost its way. And when it lost its issue price of 185, so it lost the issue price of 185, but when it lost the 200 support, it was dead. When it lost to 185, the 150 was just the open, but it's still a key price for SpaceX, and it's threatening losing that today.
Yeah, I agree. Like, we talk about the total addressable market, guys. I'm in SHPH right now. I got to get prepared to get out of this. When it popped up all the way up to $6.30, now it's starting to come back in a little bit. So that was just a little touch of that level. Sorry, I don't have it up on my screen or anything, but I got to get prepared to hop out. Total addressable market, a lot of that's coming from the data center play, right? Like provide cloud provisions, Grok AI. Even though Starlink, I do believe has so much room to grow, only 10 to 17 million active users. They can definitely start to grab market share from some of these cell phone providers. Just because if you can get service anywhere on the planet for a flat fee, I think that's going to just be an absolute troublesome, especially even up here. If we can get some Starlink, I think a lot of people would jump ship and head over there, but I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case. But as for America, that's the segment I believe within the name that has the most room to grow. As for like space exploration, I mean, we know how Elon is. I think he's a little optimistic on that for now, but I'm not completely ruling it out. Just be prepared that this name may take a little bit of time to get going, but I have the utmost confidence. I think it's a good time. It's unfortunate that it came to market at such maturity.
Exactly.
$1 trillion. I mean, Ronnie B, your boy Ron Barron there is like, this thing could be like $23 trillion market cap, which I'm like, okay, in how long? You know what I mean? But listen, I like the objective. I like the forward look within it. We know that's how we are within Elon's world. You have to remain forward looking, even when it comes to Tesla, Cybercab, and Optimus. So SpaceX, it's going to get the nod from me, but this is a longer term hold, guys. Don't expect anything massive in the next year or so, in my opinion, that is.
And for On the Rail TV,
yeah,
yes. And for multiple reasons. Like the most obvious reason is when a big name comes to the public markets, then money goes into it, and that might diversify away from other space names. That's hurt Rocket Labs. That's hurt that NASA. The other thing is you get an exuberance high, where it's like the peak of exuberance is the big name coming to the market because they're capitalizing on all of that momentum. So that's another reason why you might get it. And then it's and then there's an overall market euphoria kind of deal because we got SpaceX and of course OpenAI wants to, and maybe they'll pull theirs back, and that can cause a little bit of a topic. But absolutely, they're weighing on those stocks, and none of that's changed. Every time we get a question about Rocket Labs or one of the other space names, that's what we talk about is just how the trend has really reversed well before the IPO, but then it's been very clear since the IPO that they can't catch it. Rocket Lab had a positive story today. They're red. It just hasn't been able to do much of anything. A name that has been getting crushed, but is actually up today is next, Palantir. Uh-oh.
Yeah, just seeing as well here, guys. UAE reportedly issuing phone alerts of potential missile threats. We also had Iran saying that they've established a line of communication between the U.S. and Iran in the Strait of Hormuz, which I guess is a positive sign. That was about half an hour ago, so be aware. Lots of headlines as far as the Middle East are concerned this morning. But PLTR actually looking relatively positive compared to a lot of weakness as of late in the stock series.
Yeah, at least a day of relief here, guys. Fresh 52-week lows down into 108 yesterday, continuing a brutal multi-day sell-off, which has erased 39% of the company's value year to date. Of course, is probably bumping up a little bit right now. Let's talk about this because the retail bulls, they'll pound the table about the last quarter. They love the 85% surge in revenue year over year. But institutional quantitative desks, they don't like that 97 times forward earnings multiple. So they want that to come down a little bit. So some food for thought there. But also let's talk about the usage-based consumption that's kind of changing a little bit of how companies absorb AI. So you got companies like Anthropic, OpenAI, others. They're saying, look, we can go into your legacy software and we can operate just as well as Palantir. The only thing is we're not going to charge you a flat monthly tariff. The more you use us, the more you pay. The less you use us, the less you pay. Some companies are opting for that model, something to think about there. And then there's also the sovereignty of data. We've been talking a lot about this. It's a problem in this country and it's a problem in Europe as well. They're not happy with Canadian data being housed on Palantir servers, lest the US government require that from Palantir statutorily. So they want to protect their data, and you're seeing some sort of cancellations here, despite the fact that they did get a new deal with Zeta Global. And then Adara, $202 million in stock-based compensation in 1 month doesn't please investors vis-a-vis dilution.
And Michael Burry announced yesterday he covered half of his short position around that, between 107 and 108 area. So interesting look here for PLTR. Also, UAE now apparently sending alerts saying the situation is now safe. So looks like that's been addressed. How are you guys addressing Palantir today, though?
Unless it sees 100, I don't know that I'm going to trade it. It could end up being like a weird breakout. On a daily chart, on a monthly chart, there's nothing for a long time on Palantir to even start thinking about the bid. And on a weekly chart, it's a very similar thing. Like you're in the middle of nowhere till 100. That's also a level that Brian Shannon came out with an anchored prior key level. And if you again on the daily, it's a little bit more clear at the $100 level. There was a prior breakout there. I seriously doubt that we get there. The other way that this could end up playing out is simply, I don't mind not having something on the radar and then jumping to it because, hey, it's moving, it's relatively strong. The market is down, this is up, it's above, but it's chopping this prior resistance at 108.75. If this stock just simply breaks out 109 and ends up trying to form an upward pattern, then fine. I don't mind joining the long. But my first look is to look for some shorts today. So I don't know that this is the first place I'm going to be hunting at on PLTR. So I'll probably stay away. But that 100 level is the next key level. But it gets pretty dicey if it doesn't hold that.
Yeah, I mean, it makes things really, really difficult. The name that was hot for so long. 23 bucks all the way up to $209, 800% just like that. And I mean, I remember trading this name in the teens back in like 22 and 23, where it's like $8, $9, 13 bucks. You just grab exponential growth within this underlying, and then sure enough, now you're getting on the flip side of things. Now, obviously, it took some time for this to get rolling right to the downside, but it's looking pretty ugly if you ask me. $100 maybe here for Palantir. I mean, I've never owned the stock. I don't plan on owning the stock, to be honest with you. I like Alex Karp. I have no issue with him whatsoever. I mean, this guy's all about whatever he's about, offense.
Mass surveillance.
Yeah. Listen, I like the guy. I like what's happened within the company. But hey, man, it goes to what I was saying. Like, you can be the hot new toy, but then eventually the stock market will find something else, and people are just probably selling a lot of Palantir and putting into other things, right? So it's unfortunate the way it is. Hopefully, a lot of you trim some of your position, because a 53% pullback is not it's not fun to sit through, that's for sure. But it's not the first time we see it. It's not the last time we're going to see it either. So get prepared, man. If you go on some big time runs, don't get greedy and ring that register, as you would like to say there, Neil. I mean, I talk about the story of my one buddy quite often, who's just been on this roller coaster ride, and you have everyone within our financial group just talking to him, saying, "Hey, man, ring it," and he's like, "No, we're going down with the ship," as some would like to say, or we're gonna send it off to the moon. So, to each their own. Just be prepared, man. If you make a decision and you go with it, just understand whether you ring that register or you decide to sell some or hold it. It is what it is, and you made the decision, so you're going to have to go through the consequences, whether it's good or bad. So,
exactly. Yeah. A couple more to get to, but very, very quickly on the imbalances. 925 just hit. It's Friday. SpaceX is well, you just saw it. It was a 1 million buy for a split second and then instantly paired off. I bid 750,000 to the sell side. Now SpaceX is only 230,000. Microsoft, a small sell of 200,000. That would be the reason for the SpaceX going back up to 151 just now. On made an acquisition, a big one, but they're sliding heavily this morning.
ON with an acquisition announcement. It's still at pre-market lows, guys, continuing to drop, and even a downgrade to boot here. Does not look like analysts or traders are happy about this roughly $7 billion enterprise value acquisition.
You're absolutely right, Adara. $7 billion all stock, as Adara and Neil mentioned. And just so we can kind of iron things out, an all stock deal presents the acquiring shareholder with two main questions that they have to ask. Am I getting enough money for my shares of Synaptics with this 1.350 conversion that they're doing with ON? That's question number one. Question number two is my investment philosophy, my investment thesis, does it work with this combined entity? Do I want to be part of Onsemi? I was in Synaptics. Now I'm going to be part of Onsemi. Those are the two questions that the shareholders have to ask themselves. So sometimes it poses some problems. But let's talk about the 19% premium that Synaptics shareholders are getting, right? 1.350 shares of ON stock means Synaptics shareholders will instantly command 12% of the combined company. That makes them a fierce proxy right away as a shareholder base, and then they could, have a lot of activism. So by doing that, you're changing fundamentally the shareholder base, and that's always part and parcel of these acquisitions. Let's also talk about the true reason why this is being acquired. A lot of mainstream media wants to say IoT this, IoT that. That has nothing to do with IoT. It has everything to do with robotics. The true crown jewel here is this ultra-secret robotic division, which has quietly scaled AI-enabled touch controllers for tactile sensing to over 35 global drone and humanoid OEMs. Good look there. And management, though, they'll project a deal. They'll like, oh, yeah, we're going to expand our TAM, our total addressable market, by $243 billion by 2030. What they don't say, though, is that the deal isn't expected to close until mid-27, and then it's going to take another 18 months, according to projections, could take longer, right, for it to actually turn into non-GAAP EPS accretive. So I think, a lot of people have rightfully concerns here, Darryl.
Yeah, just a couple minutes here until the opening bell. So let's talk crypto while we're here as well. Coinbase, I was just reading, apparently down 69% from highs. Bitcoin, of course, really weak as well here. Sharif, do you think we hold on to this 58K level on BTC? Oh, you're muted.
We've been talking on this about this on the midday show a lot, guys. We are looking for a correction into the low 50s or high 30s, depending on whether we're going to go 80 or 70%. Those are the historical correction reversals for Bitcoin today.
Crypto, ON, what are you guys looking at today in either of these? And good luck, everyone, at the opening bell.
Yeah, I'm going to stay away from ON. Bit of a pop there and a few interesting names. We saw SpaceX already back at 152. Micron's getting back into the upside of the Nasdaq, trying to bounce here. But I want to short IBIT into the 34. Like the wick highs here, 33.8 into 34. Still relative weakness. You're underneath that 60,000 level, which to me means head to the 50. I'm going to leave it on IBIT because we only have like a minute to go. I'll leave it on this chart. But the trend is your friend until the end, when sometimes it bends. But until that happens, the one day that we were not looking short in this particular name was the day that it did this at the open. I'm not saying that's going to happen again. But if we just get one of those like traditional topping tail wicks at that pre-market high or close, then I'm going to look to the south side for them. But there is a nice bounce happening into the open here. Just to show you Micron, which is trying to get back now above the prior day lows, almost at the volume weighted average price. So I'll be looking at DRAM and probably IBIT first, alongside of SpaceX in that 150. It's above right now, so I probably have nothing going on SpaceX, but I want to short the pop if I get it into DRAM into the prior low, and IBIT sort of the same thing there.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, I mean, here it is. Adam James asking me about SHPH. We only got about 20 seconds here, guys. I was looking at AMD 512 break. You got it up to 519, so that's $8 just like this. Here's my two trades on SHPH. Took the losses on them. I'm not going to take any more stabs on this bad boy. 4, 3, brought to you by, who was that? Origenics.
Origenics, holla.
Brought to you by Origenics here, ladies and gentlemen. This name can go. It can do whatever it wants. Unfortunately, obviously, here it goes. I mean, look at the, oh, that's not even the tape for this name, but the tape is hella strong. This thing is going to continue to ride. There comes AMD right back in. I hope you print up on this bad boy, Adam, but there's zero chance I'm going to be trading it anymore here. Bang, just like that, just flushes. And I was pushing a little bit of size, maybe too much size here for bright and early in the morning. So we took two waxes, I would like to say. It was those were a face slapper, not in the good direction, that's for sure. So other than that, guys, what do we got? Everything to the downside. 192 here on Nvidia. Not too good of a look, ladies and gentlemen, as this name continuously struggling here. Oh man, let's see what we got going on. Yeah, right. It's not a good look whatsoever. Come on, JP Morgan. That thing is holding up the good old account at this point. I mentioned we're probably going to see the 70s. We're probably going to see the 80s. I'm going to grab a little bit more. I don't want to DCA into an oblivion. Again, I have what's separate from my long-term account and what I've been recently buying, two totally different portfolios, and it hasn't been performing well whatsoever. $200 average. Yeah, AMD flushed to the downside. You didn't get anything on SpaceX?
No.
There it goes, kablamo. Or shablamo on this one.
What's the word again?
Shablamo.
I got shablamoed with the lack of fill on the break of SpaceX through 150. Okay, so there's also 147 would also be a low. Nibble, fill. Okay, I got picked.
You want coffee or anything?
I'll take one. Yeah, if you're good.
Yeah, we go, dude.
Hey,
man, we don't got Randy around
I'm not
here.
saying no. So look, that fill through 150, it went all the way to 148 and a half. Are you kidding me? Okay, so it's like I said, I'm gonna nibble in here with a bit of a chase at 49. I don't want this back through the 50 and a half, because to me that's like it'll convince me that 150 is held. But I don't want to be adding until we get a close. If we get a closing bar under 150, I want to try to add to this if I get the opportunity to. The Nasdaq bounced, remember, off of this open here. So, just to give you a quick look, the Nasdaq is bouncing. So SpaceX might be going down here, but I'm looking over, like there's Micron like flying to the upside as we speak, and that takes DRAM, which is a name that I was looking for, a fade in. It's trying to get up to that pre-market high, that 73 and a half level. So yeah, while SpaceX is looking drastically different right now from the rest of the market, if we get this turbulence to the downside resolved with like a rebound day, like and never mind. And like the second I said it, there go the Qs right back into the lows. Thanks, Rob. I just told you, Joe just went for a coffee and Rob just came through with one. So now I feel kind of bad. Because I'm going to have a couple. So DRAM's the other name I'm looking for. 73 and a half was that not just a pre-market high, but it's also the prior day low. So that's the reason I wanted to get into this. If it's just topping tail, I might try to take a shot here. That looks like a pretty solid reversal candle in DRAM. If I can pick it up underneath VWAP, I'm going to jump into that name as well. So a lot to watch. The market looking like we're going for another bit of a dip and another bit of a bleed. I'm in one, just trying to wait for something else to engage and give me a price I can get. Bitcoin's not really doing anything. Apple, for what it's worth, worst day in a while, it bounced off the low. So again, Apple's going to be able to hold on to some of these lows. here. So Apple looking okay. Market, not so much. Not at all. You guys let me know what else you guys are watching. Don't. Seriously, Wendy's if you guys are typing Wendy's in the chat, it better actually be moving. That's all I'm saying. Because Wendy's was the biggest distraction and disappointment yesterday. I want to say. I was incredibly disappointed with the trading in Wendy's, so I'm not going to throw that up just yet because the 150 is getting retested here on SpaceX. And if it holds through, I got to get out. I didn't really scalp this thing where you could have. Like, I easily could have scalped this one, and I decided not to scalp the trade. So I'm going to hang on to it. If it can regain 150 underneath, fantastic. But for now, it's starting to go. My bad, by the way, Joe.
For what?
I had asked Rob for a coffee.
Oh, and he got one for you?
And he already got me one. So,
I see how.
I mean, I could double fist, but that would just be a little bit intense. So that might get cold, brother.
Nothing runs on this bad boy. We had QUCY on our radar here a little bit this morning. Doesn't seem to be doing what we want to. 10% to the downside in SanDisk. Ethereum, we're down 1.4%. So the crypto space getting hit again. MSTR to $80 here. Oh man, this is absolutely disastrous. I wonder what Michael Saylor's doing. Now, as for IBIT, you're down a third. Is it going to find any form of a bounce? Head over to the 5-minute time frame. Seems to be right now, but what we do have is consistent lower highs here, so you're going to have to be patient, maybe wait for that trend line break, the retest of it, because with Bitcoin, I find it just takes a little bit of time for it to get the ball rolling. But I do like the look of AMD's jib. My issue here, Neil, is that it's just a steady downward slope within the volume-weighted average price. Maybe DRAM will start to fill this gap. I think that would be a potential trade for me here, so we'll keep our eyes on it. But don't forget, guys, we were trading SHPH earlier this morning, and we got ran through the ringer on that bad boy. So
this market wants to bounce.
It does. Yeah. I believe that it's going to. You just have to be patient. I was looking at Take-Two because I was reading some things up on GTA 6 here. These guys already have 38 million pre-orders. So I don't even think you're going to get this game right out of the jump. You're going to have to be patient for it. But the stock not doing anything really, right? Like you head over to the daily and see what's going on there. Stock's not jumping, but like over $3 billion in pre-orders in GTA 6. That's crazy stuff if you ask me, Neil.
I don't know if it's crazy.
Dude, there's no game that's ever done that.
But the anticipation has been insane for it. Right? So, like, you've also have you ever waited this long for anything? No.
Yeah, I'm still waiting, to be honest with you.
Well, then that's sort of.
You don't know what I'm waiting for.
Okay, well, fine. Anyway, so look, SpaceX, unlike yesterday, like some of the first, like if you caught anything, like your first trade, if it was short yesterday, then 100% it won. Depending on what you trade, unless I guess you could have traded. I don't know, like what wouldn't have gone down at the open yesterday? Not much, about 0 for 1 on that SpaceX break. We're into DRAM. It's not the pre-market high, but it's a topping tail candle, which means respect the wick. If it makes a fresh high, get out of Dodge. Micron's still only putting in green candles, so not something that you want to fight forever, but it's only 7 minutes in here, so I do want to try to respect it. Like Micron at VWAP, looking like it's trying to pull back a little bit here. Oh my goodness.
AMD.
No way.
AMDL has a.
Well, that's not what I was actually going to.
Holy cow.
No, it's BlackBerry. It's still going. And still the undisputed heavyweight champion of, well, 4% isn't that much, but you take the wins where you can. Yesterday's earnings play that I think was maybe the surprise to be the big mover to the upside yesterday, because there wasn't much of anything, is going to be BlackBerry. Another fresh high in here today after their, I don't want to say like blowout earnings or anything like that, but they had a very, very strong trading day in the face of what was not Armageddon, but a rough day for the markets. I wanted to try to find a way to phrase it that wasn't so ridiculously bad. Because it was bad yesterday, but it wasn't doom and gloom in the markets. Like Apple had a really bad day and the MAG had a really bad day, but when you looked at it in context, what the Qs did, it could have been a heck of a lot worse. Yeah. But good for BlackBerry. You know, congratulations to anyone that's trading that one. And oh yeah, I said I was going to look at Wendy's, and hopefully you guys didn't trick me. Today it goes.
Wendy's? Yeah, that's how it goes, man.
What's hilarious about this is, like, I was looking for a reason to go long this, and thankfully didn't yesterday in the morning, but it ended up just taking up a chart and wasting my time. Today, all you had to do was close your eyes, punch long, and you can get about 50 Baconators right now if you're into that sort of thing. I mean, if you're not like Joe, because Joe doesn't like good food.
No, I like bacon. I usually get the deluxe, to be honest with you.
Hey,
I need all the fixings.
is it a burger?
Yeah.
Does it have bacon on it?
For sure.
Then that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's all. I like
all that
making my
matters.
own style. Man, it's been a rinse fest here for the boy this morning. Not good. We're gonna have to slow things down. I mean, we take the 2 losses on that small cap. No, I like sourdough bread. That's my go-to. Every Saturday and Sunday morning, I have a turkey bacon and egg sandwich. That's my stuff. I like turkey bacon regular.
Sourdough.
Yeah, sourdough.
Forever.
Sourdough for the win, for sure. AMDL.
We talk about too much food right now.
Yeah, I know. We got a lot of food going on here, Neil. Man, it's going to be a long day here over in Joelandia at this point. Just absolute rinse steady. $20 or 20 cent, $20. 20 cent spread. When I was entering AMDL here, and I'm like, oh no, bang, I had to get out of this one. So it's been a rough start, man. We're going to have to be extremely precise and see if we can find some momentum, because starting right out of the gate, over is never that much fun. So a little bit tougher of a look, but there's no doubt in my mind, if we get a couple of wins under our belt, we can battle back without any question. But it's not been good here. Lost there. And I just been like, hey man, it's Friday. Let's see if we can find something here and cap the week off with a good one. But it's been
Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday.
You ain't got no job.
It's Saturday. Oh damn.
You ain't got no money.
Yeah.
You ain't got ish to do.
Man, we ain't
If
got.
you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah, Friday.
The movie.
Yeah, Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just making.
Yeah.
You know, I don't make the assumption that everyone gets my old ass references.
Yeah,
so
that was good stuff.
I'm
man.
just
No,
making sure.
I'm getting shablamoed here today, man. So we're gonna have to
Shablamo.
slow our rocker down.
SpaceX is still going because SpaceX shablamoed the short early and is still shablamoing the short even more. DRAM is catching a bit of a bid for what it's. Well, I might have lied. A second ago.
It's getting rinsed, man.
A second ago, you know what? Maybe I think I had like a stuck quote or something. I'd swear a second ago I saw this trading above 72, but I think I just maybe had some bad quotes. Now this is still near the lows and heading toward the low of the day. Whatever. I think that was literally just probably a bad quote when I was looking at one of my level 2s. Micron's still looking relatively weak in here, and as I said, I will shout out to everybody that's like, Neil, we did tell you about Wendy's when it was lower. I believe you. I absolutely believe you. That's going to be a miss. We'll hit the bang for anyone that stuck with it and believed in this one. It's absolutely flying. In the face of a bit of a market pullback, nothing can seem to stop this squeeze name from taking off. Good for them. The other thing which is showing some strength, we show you guys the Nasdaq and the ES all the time, but one of the things I was pointing out yesterday was the Russell made a high in yesterday's trade. Well, it's trying to go again here today. So it was relatively strong yesterday and trying to show you some signs of going again here today. Again, I'm only in DRAM, and the other name that I thought I'd be getting off the open is starting to creep higher to look short, and that's going to be IBIT. It doesn't seem to have the momentum to get all the way up to 34, but there's a chance. So I'm going to let this one drift a little bit higher. It either pops into these pre-market tops for a fade, or I look for the short underneath VWAP. For now, it seems like it's headed higher, so patience is going to be the name of the game for me and IBIT. Bitcoin just seems relatively weak. Even if the market rebounds, at least I feel like that's a place that we can stick with the short thesis a little bit longer than most. So right now you're catching a bit of a bid in DRAM, but it's still not breaking that volume-weighted average price. I might look to get another leg out at this low if we're not going to see the LOD, just in case it puts in that higher low, give myself a chance to be able to reload this trade as well.
Yeah, you know, Nylander for a pick. There goes AMD. I think I was going to take another stab, but this spread did it start in time. It's still 20 cents, man. A nice push through the volume-weighted average price on this bad boy, and then there you go, bang, off to the races it is on, oh well. I mean, hey man, you got to stick with your risk measures. It's unfortunate. Should have waited for this pullback here, and then
now we're going.
Now you have it. Yeah, now you punch through VWAP. Same thing with the NVDA, Neil. That thing's starting to move a little bit here. I got to take SHPH. That thing really broke down, Adam. I know that you mentioned that not too long ago, but let's see what NVDL is up to. Man, honestly, I didn't even know. In the threes, remember when I called? No, I don't remember when you called that Saturn is a dog. But there goes NVDA, a breakthrough 27.72. This has a 3 cent spread. compared to what we're looking at 10-cent spread on AMDL. I thought it was a little bit more liquid than that. I don't remember when I was entering here that it being a 20-cent spread. So now starting to come back in a little bit here, guys. Can the overall market break through VWAP? I think that's going to be my next question. But again, just pushing it here, and it didn't go our way. So we always have to keep our risk measures in place. So you're not going to see as much activity from me, but I'm still going to be looking for things. Reduce the size. All it takes is a little win, and then your boy is right back in the game. And I'm always one win away. I
want to make a point about NVDL.
Go ahead, man.
Well, I think for anyone that's looking at it, remember it did that split, which these ETFs, they tend to do these splits. You don't freak out. It just trades at a new price, and you sort of move on. That's another reason. They are trading vehicles.
They're not investment vehicles.
They're not investment vehicles. They are trading vehicles. Decay will absolutely crush you if you think that you are going to hold those as investments. They're just trading vehicles. All right, with that last little pop-up, I got to reload in DRAM there.
The pullbacks on them, you just get rinsed.
Oh,
it's
huge.
Double the amount. Right?
Exactly.
Like,
you get destroyed.
Yeah, you get absolutely
destroyed.
So
again, for short-term trading vehicles, they can be absolutely fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But you just want to get too wrapped up holding them. You can swing them for a little bit, but
that's the thing, right? Like if you're looking for a momentum-styled play, and like the stock is actually moving in the direction that you want it to, and it's moving pretty quick, yeah, they're good. But it's like, okay, I remember I was buying SOXL or something along those lines for a bit, and I held it for like a couple of weeks, and then after I just got out of it. That's what you have to do, to be honest with you, with some of these leverage-styled plays. Are you in Bitcoin? No, you're short.
No, I'm only, DRAM's the only, I had one quick one in SpaceX that lost, and then been reloading DRAM up here off these wick highs, so that's kind of holding forward. Now, obviously, look, I guess most of you will probably be looking at Micron, which is doing something similar, right? Like topping tails, blah, blah, 1150. I just like the way that DRAM was moving yesterday. So for myself, been shorting that high, looking for the pre-market low, then a hold. There's no super obvious levels in the midst of this gap until we get to like down here, like this high, I guess, resistance, 70. So that's a ways away. Like we'd have to break 71, get like $1.50 in the money. At that point, you're probably thinking about Micron breaking 1100. But that's the only trade I got on. Bitcoin's not really going far enough yet up to get me short, but I don't want to miss a chance at this. Once it breaks this trend line, I do want to jump in to the short on IBIT. So still proven otherwise, I'm still going to take my chances.
It's pretty strong here today.
There is a bounce happening, but anything that's holding that high, I'll stick with the original thesis. For now, that happens to be DRAM, and with IBIT, I'll just have to wait a bit. One of the things that you can be looking at, and I see a lot of people in the chat mentioning this, so true, there's an exorbitant amount of strength elsewhere. Like the IGV is getting buoyed by, guess? Oh, well, there's a CDR for Microsoft, which I just pulled up accidentally. No, Microsoft.
Definitely always.
2.5%, blasting higher. We already showed Palantir this morning was one of the few names that was going higher. So maybe a little rotation action. You can't call it rotation today because the market's actually holding well. It's not like it's selling off and IGV's going higher, but the software names are getting a bit of a bounce. So it would be like alert to ServiceNow, maybe alert to the cybersecurity names as well if you happen to be paying attention. But they're certainly leading this charge this morning. Yeah,
JPM back in the red, guys. Some of these banks getting hit pretty heavy, but out of all of them, you have actually this name holding up the best, right? Like you have Citibank down 2%. My boy Jesse here, he's got some Visa and MasterCard rolling with that. But Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley over here down 3% respectively. So almost 4% there on Goldman Sachs. So I mean, a little bit tough, bro. But look, how's our friend Walmart? We're up 1 1/3 here in Walmart. We like that. Someone was mentioning UNH this morning. This thing's going parabolic at this point, Neil. And then we also got 5% on HIMS as well. So some big time moves in some of these other names. So there is signs of strength. You're always, as our friend Jim Cramer would like to say, there's a bull market somewhere. You just got to find it. But look at all this. Look at the chips here. Look at the memory storage. Just absolutely the red wedding here. I mean, it's unfortunate. 3% in Palantir, IBM. Nothing to really get overly worried about, man. There's some small pullbacks. Robinhood, what was Robinhood up to before we send it
What
back
the heck?
1.3% on Robinhood. What happened? DRAM?
No, I didn't. No. I just didn't realize that even
CrowdStrike.
like Robinhood's making that move. I just assumed because Bitcoin wasn't doing that
Positive
much.
note from BTIG, I believe, but I
Okay.
just saw this in passing. But I know there was some kind of positive analyst note here in Robinhood that I watched.
Okay, that'll play. I'm not saying to bring the register on
Robinhood's
it, but
definitely
like,
nice
you'll
short
take
on
it.
nice short on DRAM though, man.
I missed another reload. It doesn't
yeah?
look like I missed a reload, but I did miss a potential reload because it did this like fail at VWAP. So instead of shorting the wick highs, there was this fail underneath VWAP that it should have been a VWAP short to add back into it. Well, hang on, but I'm now starting to think, okay, I don't care what's going on in Robinhood. You're starting to slow down here in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Right, like you're putting in a bit of a topping tail. This is about to break the trend, so I want to be short this as well. The market's headed back to the lows. You don't want to miss the shot either. So once this breaks the trend in a couple of seconds, or maybe the next minute or so, I'm going to go fade over there. I see people saying Webull is moving as well.
Weber.
Webull? If Robinhood's strong, I can expect Webull to be as. And I saw in the chat someone was asking about the chart. I use a 3-minute. So if you're seeing me on the lowest time frame where usually I'll be executing, it's going to be the 3-minute, and I'll slide over to a daily chart. And then if I slide over again, this is a 15-minute. I'll usually use the 15 for levels and short-term trend, the daily chart when we're going higher level, and then longer trends, obviously.
Yeah.
But this is the 3-minute chart that I use, and there's no. I'll be real with you. Like it's just what I ended up comfortable with. I've used 1 minute. I've used 5-minute. I settled at 3. That's just what I happen to like. So you use what works for you. I don't think there is a perfect answer to what time frame chart you should use to day trading. If you have a certain time frame and you have a certain indicator that you like and you make money with it, then knock yourself out, man. If you're like, this idiot uses a 3-minute chart when the 5 is better, fair. Like it's just what works for me. So.
Dude, honestly, to each their own. Like whatever works, right?
Yeah.
Whatever tickles your fancy. It doesn't matter how it gets done, as long as the job gets done.
Exactly.
Right? Like it's truly. We're long some NVDL here, guys. Nothing to write home about, to be honest with you. What do we got? 9 cents at this point. Let's see if we can continue to move. Hopefully, this name finds some form of a recovery. But again, just because I have to be extremely more risk adverse at this point, I can't put on any amount of the size that I would like to for that nice little 15-cent pop in this bad boy. So we'll take it for what it is, to be honest. So I'm not going to complain about it whatsoever. Just gives you more and more breathing room as we're finally starting to recover. But on the bigger picture of things, on the bigger picture of things, it's nothing. It's nothing, to be honest with you, Neil. So let's hold on to it for a little bit longer. We'll mark out some levels. I think the 194 marker is a pretty good target here within NVDA. With that being said, let's head over to our options chain and see what we got going on over there, guys. If there's anything at 195 that we need to keep an eye out on from an open interest standpoint that expired today, nothing that I'm seeing. There is a slight concentration, though, ladies and gentlemen, around 195 and 197.5. You can see the open interest really start to pick up a little bit here, but the size is really at 200. And we've gone over this on multiple occasions. Like, look at all of the short interest, right? Like, it's like, okay, Joe, how do you know that this is like all short contracts? There's somebody on the opposite side who want these contracts to expire. And we've seen this time and time again. When you just have this massive amount of OI and there's no real demand to drive this stock any higher, then it can give you a little bit of trouble. And just like that, you climb for a couple of minutes, it's now evaporated in the span of 30 seconds. So there is some downward pressure within this name. It showed through the options chain. So if we can't break 194, then maybe we're going to have to go find some staples or something that's a little bit stronger. But I have no issues with getting out. I'm pretty extended from the volume weighted average price, guys. You know my style. I like to get everything as close to VWAP as possible. So let's see if we can get this break, Neil. AMD might curl over turtle shell, but Bitcoin's still moving there.
Bitcoin is still going higher, which is weird. SpaceX just lost 150 again, so back into it. There's 150, there's 147 is the actual, I hate to use the term all-time low, but it is the all-time low. So you could call it the local bottom. I'll just keep calling it the all-time low. Is just above 147. I still like that break. I'll try to grab it if I can, but I want to short into VWAP first. So I'm going to short this one back into the volume-weighted average price. I tried getting rid of those dark pools, but some of those late reported prints are just going to have to stick around. I know it's kind of annoying, but it is what it is. Some of the other places where we have not been paying as much attention, I know we talk about SpaceX. For what it's worth, some strength over here in Tesla. Tesla's catching a nice little bid. Well, it's not down as much as it was earlier. I don't want to say it's doing anything too crazy to the upside, but when you kind of compare it to what's going on with the market, this is the cues this morning. It's a Friday, so that means option expiration, sometimes a little bit of chop. Well, the cues are all chop so far. Like, you don't have a distinct direction. No. You've got higher lows and you've got lower highs, so you're forming a wedge pattern for a potential break. So you could almost be poised. You could be set up in either direction at this point, right? So if I come in thinking short, I'm going to be short while the market looks like this. And if we break down, great. And if it breaks trend to the upside, you kind of know you're just going to be out. But the risk reward kind of favors you being a little bit patient with the position. But it's just so much chop early.
Yeah, a lot of chop here. You're right, Neil. A lot of sideways price action. But for some reason, I'm getting the hunch that we might get a little bit of a break here, right? If there's the demand.
Trying to.
But the issue is that it could fail extremely hard, and then you have that wedge style where you didn't get the break up. It actually just breaks down. So let's see, man. I mentioned that the volume-weighted average price is downward sloping. That's something to keep an eye out on. AMD is looking like it might turn over, to be honest with you guys. Let's see if we get that breach. 28.20 is where I'm going to look to take a little bit of profit here if we're fortunate enough to get that marker. But not a horrible look, right? Like, if you can catch the lower end of the range, which the actual the ETF is giving you, post up in the just below, you're at the lower, but there's consistent higher lows. So if this breaks up, well, what are the big participants doing? And I mention that all the time, is that if you're looking to trade the Nasdaq or the SPY, you got to look at the heaviestly weighted sectors. Right? So let's head over to our 5-minute time frame and see how everybody's been performing at the top of our list. Neil mentioning that Tesla's strong today. We'll take a look at that. We're in this, so we don't need Google. Google to the downside and the Nasdaq holding up like this. That's not horrible. Apple starting to find somewhat of a recovery. You heard Michael Noss talking about it this morning. SpaceX down 2%. But Neil, we cracked that opening price. I know we have before, but I think this is just the momentum that is going to be continued to the downside. That's why we're posted up at 125 on this bad boy. Can't wait for the earnings report, as I said on multiple occasions. But what can really drive the Nasdaq higher is Microsoft near the high of the days. Or who? Amazon.
Micron just broke that.
There you go.
Broke that high. So for myself, I didn't even wait for my stop to hit. I just had Micron up and just punched out the flat when I saw Micron breaking the high. That's the thing about trading DRAM, which I like, is that if I hold my stop, I'm losing an extra 30 cents, or I can just look at what Micron is doing and know that that's leading the way and just be able to get out of the trade a little bit earlier.
Go Nvidia.
At least that helps us save a little bit on Micron. IBIT is absolutely flashing. Okay, IBIT just got to 34. That's the level. The market's making this bounce. It's doing its thing.
It's bouncing.
So as long as that's going to be the case, I don't want Blue Ocean. Oh, goodness. Every time Blue Ocean's, there it is. Every time Blue Ocean's the first thing. Why don't you want to trade
Blue Ocean, Neil?
No, it's just that it's the first thing on the drop down.
I know.
So if I type in a stock and then hit enter, it's the first thing that comes up. But we're right at that 34. There've been big topping tails the last 3 times we've broken this price. It feels a little bit different right now. So it's going to have to be a trend break for me on BTC. And even we just keep busting that VWAP on
Keep going, man. Well, see, when everybody's thinking a little bearish, the market just turns head.
That's what it does. Well, not yesterday.
Not yesterday.
Yesterday, the shorts were fine.
No, but you would think, like, I don't know how you feel about this personally, but for me, logically, I'm like, okay, market gets wrecked yesterday. Maybe we'll find some form of a continuation today. Yeah, nope. Boop. Up to the downside. That's how I would think it, right? But that's not necessarily the case. So some of these names have been getting pretty beat up. I mentioned
overnight highs are 200 points away.
Who is?
Overnight highs are still 200 points away.
In
the Qs.
Oh, yeah.
When I say, usually if I say that, I'm just talking about
the Nasdaq there. Nasdaq. So MSDR positive. Yeah, Bitcoin's strong, man. 33.97. Bigger picture. So DRAM did break through though. Neil, it broke up here, broke through the volume weighted average price. I should have took some off at 28.20. That was where I was posted up at, looking for a little bit more. Trying to keep this runner. It's just unfortunate. Once again, I said we had a lot of size on our earlier ones. I only have about 20% on this position. So we'll try to hold it for as long as we can here on Nvidia.
So it's only 2 stocks for me, but it's the same. I'm basically only taking the same shot in SpaceX. I want to short 150 every single time, and I want to try to give it just above that volume weighted average price, because to me, like, this is that one. Again, SpaceX, for most people, it's probably your best stock this month. I don't want to speak for everybody that's a day trader, but like around here, I'm sure it is. So this is one that I want to give every chance. But DRAM had to come out when you saw what happened to Micron, and now you're absolutely blasting. All of that said, we're only now at the prior day low. That was the original level that I was looking for the short off of. But it's built differently here. So because I was already in that short and it already worked out as well as it possibly could, it's not like I could have gotten any more out of it. I don't want to rush back in. Just because I liked it at that price doesn't mean sit on the offer when things look different, because it's very, very different when you get up here. Like, look at Micron now as we get into this level. Much stronger than you would have expected. We do have happening now and Michigan consumer sentiment. So let's go to the desk with Adara.
At this point now, we're just at any moment getting that University of Michigan consumer sentiment print. That's coming in here, guys, at 49.5. So a little bit below the estimate of 50, but above the prior print of 48.9. Now the 5-year and 1-year inflation expectations dead in line with estimates. 3.3% here for the 5-year inflation print. We were expecting here 3.3%, 1-year inflation final 4.6% versus estimates of, you guessed it, 4.6%. So again, slightly lower than expected University of Michigan consumer sentiment print, but in line inflation estimates, and that market just continues to edge higher. This is the final session of the trading week. Really rough and tumble week here for both the Nasdaq and the SPY, gapping up, then gapping down on a variety of catalysts. Of course, in focus this week included Micron with its earnings report, by far the biggest earnings name of this week here. Massive blowout earnings report, as we described. Initially giving up some of that move today, but trying to come right back here. That AI rally absolutely in focus. SanDisk, another one moving in a volatile way in that space. But let's also talk about some of these beat up tech names that are trying to get a little bit of a bounce today. Palantir did gap up. Really weak last couple sessions for them, but currently trading here around that 112 area, near intercession highs. Oracle, another thing that's been beaten up as of late, bounced off the open. Actually looks like it's pulled back a bit, unfortunately, here as well for ORCL. But keep an eye on some of these beat up tech plays, maybe trying to get a little bit of a bounce today, as we've mentioned a couple times as well. Crypto, absolutely in focus here, with Bitcoin hanging out around that 58, 59,000 level. Coinbase down 69% from its highs last I checked. Another one of these names trying to get a bounce today. We're going to bounce over to Neil and Joe, and make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content.
Adara and traders, there's an offer out there. Your broker's not giving it to you because we've got extremely active markets everywhere, and this is the kind of environment that's going to give you a big opportunity and big momentum. And look, if you want to take advantage of those conditions, you need a couple of things: discipline and access to capital. Trade the Pool is going to come in and give you that. Instead of being limited by the size of your account, you can access the firm's capital on executing your strategies and managing risk. You're not going to have fear of blowing up your personal account. You're not going to be moving your stop loss early because you're worried about your own savings. It's limited risk trading. That's what it's called. And if you want to take advantage of this volatility in today's markets without risking your own capital, then visit tradethepool.com, scan the QR code out in front of you, and want to thank them for sponsoring this part of the show. We're going to go right back up to Adara.
I have to thank Gravel Culture and a couple other people in the chat for bringing this to my attention. Eli Lilly up significantly here. Volume on this pretty low. It is Eli Lilly. It's like 540,000 shares traded on the day, so keep that in mind. But Eli Lilly is going to be in focus today, getting this EMA CHMP positive opinion for one of their treatments. So that's going to be a treatment for chronic lymphocytic leukemia. Again, Eli Lilly opening here around that 128 or so, currently trading just shy of 1,200. Positive opinion from the EMA for one of its treatments. This came out earlier this morning. Back to you.
Underlay, mama, iya, uh-oh.
Oh, I don't even know what's happening now. It's not happening now, though.
If you know, you know. I know.
Maybe
You know.
Maybe we should get Fabian to change
Y'all
the
know.
"Happening Now" song to that.
We should. Well, no, you can't. It's copyright stuff, man.
Oh yeah.
The
that's
world
right.
should be much more fun.
Yeah.
And then we would be able
You
to do
should
that.
You should tell FIFA that, Neil.
Man. Well, okay.
Now I understand why a lot of people don't like FIFA.
I just self-regulated right there because I almost said a bad word.
Speculators.
No, I just.
Yeah.
I'm trying to frame my thoughts for FIFA. I don't like FIFA. I don't like FIFA. I'm going to leave it at that. I don't have a better way to say it. I don't want to curse on the air. So let's get back to trading for a quick little second.
What do you mean, bro?
34 on IBIT. This is where I like, look, this is a place, the topping tail, we're like the short, but this market is looking strong. It goes right into,
Oh, look at D-Ray.
look at this pre-market resistance here, and it's immediately catching a bounce. So that's some strength in IBIT. We're not really getting that big follow through. I might take one shot. If you get a lower high that looks good, I might reload it, but the way this market is going, I don't want to fight that too hard. Like, you take what you can get and don't be upset, but this is not one. Yeah, like, I don't want to go down with the ship. Does not work well when you're short.
Down with the
There's gotta
ship.
be a better
When
way.
has down with the ship ever worked?
No, I'm just talking about it as an analogy.
Oh.
Like, as to the reason why I'm not going to be aggressive and wanting to reload that one. It already gave a decent pullback. Like, I was able to get it to where you wanted. But the way this market is going, I don't think you want to fight it. And speaking of how it's going, like, are you kidding me? Thank goodness. Like, there's like Uno reverse card. On like the second I punched out a DRAM, it just went absolutely ham. You know what? I'll be real with you. Sometimes the best trade you make is getting out of a trade. It's not. It's like it could be like it could just be the trade that saves you. Because I came in looking short on DRAM. That was the name that I'm just going to be relentlessly like reloading it all morning and then holding it all day kind of deal. Which usually there's one of those. You stick with that, I mean, it's over. I'd be looking at the, I'd be doing this. That one, the standard one though, not the one where it changes the color of my skin. It slapped me so hard.
Stop, yeah. Shablamo, man. All right.
You and this shablamo.
It says the chat. They keep saying it. I don't really.
No, they don't.
Yeah, man. They've
Do
been
they
saying
really?
it all morning. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I would have dropped it yesterday, but it seems like everyone likes it. Drop it like a bad habit. All right, guys, here it is. Nvidia, are you going to go? We were talking about this level, right? So we did take a little bit off here around that 194 mark, or that's going to be around that 2820 here on NVDL, but the market just straight up and to the right now. So a couple of strong buy, and there it goes. It's continuing on that path. So a pretty good look. AMD finding its way as well. So some names that have been beaten up. We'll take a couple of percentage points to the top end without any form of questioning here. Can we turn to positivity? We're still down 0.8%. Google down 0.5%. It's been lagging. If we decide to play catch up over here in this name, then it can definitely help drive the market a little bit higher. But I love Google all the way down here. I'll buy a little bit more at 15. Oh,
Huh?
brother, I bought some at 352. This is my green light to go around 338, to be honest with you. This downtrend is still fully intact, but we're going to grab a little bit more. And by all means, when I tell you that I'm buying stuff, guys, it's just like literally, and full disclosure, I don't even care to say it anyway. It's like 5 shares here, 5 shares there, 5 shares here, blah, blah, and so on and so forth, to the point where you get into the full position that you're looking to allocate within the specific name. So I'm just going to do the exact same thing until you build up to the amount of size that you actually want. And that's what I'm going to be doing right now in Google at $338. If it touched 337, I was talking about some at 330. Now, I'm not going to get overly greedy and wait for that specific price, but why not get involved a little bit here? DRAM going absolutely bonkers here.
Look at Micron.
Yeah, Micron's going
about to
off
be
as
green.
well. I mean, when you're down, these names are going to get continuously bought up. This was down 6% at one point. Now you're only a couple of percentage points off of the all-time high once again. So a nice strong recovery here today within these memory names.
You need to have a different stock on this. Like, I like the key, but it needs to not
Why
be.
does it not be AMC anymore?
Well, I mean,
You should put Micron on that. I'm
that
sure
goes
that's a
without
great choice.
saying. It hasn't been AMC for a very long time, and it's going to continue to not be AMC for a very, very, very long time. No, I don't care. You could put Micron on that. You could put the Qs on. I don't. it doesn't even matter. Like, put Wendy's on it for crying out loud. It's just not AMC. Like, what are we even doing here? It was fun at the time, but it's not even a meme stock. It's not a momentum stock. It's not a good performing stock. It's not, there's some good movies that are out, and I guess they're having a good start to the summer movie season, but that's the end of me talking about AMC. Micron back up to 12 hundo. Micron going to go green today? What do you guys think?
Yeah.
What does everybody think? Let's put it. Let's just do it. We'll go custom poll. Is MU, doesn't need to be all caps, I'm getting too aggressive, going green? Obviously, I don't care where it closes. Does it get to green today? Yes or no? Very binary and whatever. It doesn't need to be a capital.
Oh, Netflix.
So if you think Micron is going green and you're in the chat right now, then type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. If you think Micron is going green today and you are not in the chat, well, then get in the chat first. Hit the subscribe because it's a subs only chat. Get in the chat first. Water's warm, and then type your vote in here. Yesterday, almost every time we put one of these polls up, it's been like a 50-50 deal on Micron. Today, it ain't 50-50. It is almost 80% instantly thinking Micron is going green. That is a lot of exuberance. See, that just tells me that we really need to, that graphic, just replace AMC with MU on that thing, and we'll be good to go. Shout out to Max with the smiley face. You're probably long something in the chip space today. Thank you from TikTok there. I want to shout you out for sure. Christopher Mulligan, is the Mag 7 still a thing? By name, yes. Barely up or down significantly on the year, but the Nasdaq is up over 15%. Yeah. There's still a thing. Absolutely. Sorry, just checking on the name that I'm in. It's putting a lower high. I might take a shot reloading. Market's blasting and IBIT's not going any higher. I might take a shot to reload this. But I do think you have to at least consider ball not lying here. Like, they exist by sheer size and what they mean to the market. Of course they do matter, but look at the Mags chart. And we've all seen what the SPY or the Nasdaq look like in this particular moment. You've seen the IWM and the Russell literally yesterday make an all-time high. Yesterday, in the day of doom, where the mags were relenting. The shift, which makes, if you think about it from a theme standpoint, the shift is not about the hyperscalers. It is who is benefiting from their drunken sailor spending, right? So they got all this money that they're flashing around, like ha ha ha, and it's who's taking that money. Who's getting that money and who's able to have the rising margins because of it. That's where the money's going, and they're just taking the bleed out of it. And also tapping the debt markets recently with Google probably didn't help things either. So I think that's a little bit of a shift. Let's go up to there, man.
Speaking of Mag 7s and hyperscalers, Microsoft in focus. Now, this stock is on watch here. Of course, they've backed OpenAI pretty heavily. And OpenAI, according to CNBC, not on an IPO timeline. They have yet to have an investor meeting begin. This does follow a report from New York Times last night suggesting the same thing. OpenAI probably not considering an IPO for sure this year. And that's at least partially attributed to the volatility in SpaceX. So either way here, MSFT to the upside, believe it or not, but OpenAI, again, a company they've backed pretty heavily, not on an IPO timeline quite yet. So we might have to wait till 27 for that debut.
All right,
if putting that poll in ends up being the high on Micron, feel free to throw tomatoes at me. My bad.
Yeah.
I don't have a dog in the fight right now. My bad.
You think that's the case? Hold on. I want to read this before we read that super chat, because Cheese in a Chair is my guy. He knows what's up already. We love Daniel. But listen, OpenAI scared to IPO. This is a hot take. Elon Musk going to short it with all his might. I don't know if he would do. Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah.
I don't think that's
going to be the case.
I think it's less. Like, my reason for saying he won't, like, I think he is petty. I think we all know that. I think he would maybe even say that himself. But he also was really mad when Bill Gates shorted his stock. And I'd like to think he's not a hypocrite. I'd like to think that. I don't really know for sure, but I'd like to think.
You never know. He could be irrational at times. But anyways, aside from them, Cheese in a Chair are.
I don't think you should. No.
No, there's zero.
He's the majority owner in a public company that is a direct competitor. And he's going to openly short a competitor. Absolutely not. That's not happening.
But would you?
Of course he's not going to.
The thing is,
what
though,
are we
would
even
you
talking
rule it
about?
out? I wouldn't.
I'm
rule it out.
100% ruling it out. No.
Are you sure?
He runs a direct.
runs
a direct competitor. He's not jumping in with his money and shorting it. Absolutely not.
All right.
Even if he wanted to, that's not happening. No, no, and no. I'm just saying, it's not happening. Cheese in a chair. I hate the fact that Netflix is a place to run when the market dumps. The market's not dumping right now. So you don't have to hate it today. Netflix is up 4.5%. I got a bad wick there, but this is we're not dumping. The Nasdaq's actually going higher. So you have one day, cheese in a chair. How's my investment in cheese dispensers going? Haven't heard anything about it in a while.
Public offer.
But no, it has been that way, and I get it. That's kind of sucked for Netflix. Maybe it's breaking this downtrend. One day does not break a downtrend even by a little bit, so I wouldn't necessarily think so. But it has been that sort of it's not an AI play kind of deal, so sometimes it's a little bit stronger when the Nasdaq is weak, but everything's going up today.
Yeah. Yeah, everything is going up today, man. We'll take it. What isn't
Most
really
everything.
Yeah, exactly. $194, just acting like an absolute brick wall of defense here on Nvidia. We ran into that 2820 level on multiple occasions. So let's see if we can get this breakthrough, and then we're going to look to trim a little off. A nice recovery candle off that $28 bounce. So we like the look of that, Jim, for sure. Well, mostly, I mean, PLTR, Lele, we could take a look at that one for you anytime. CrowdStrike right back up to 694. This is looking pretty good, if you ask me. So, bang, there it goes, right? 694, and this looks like it might want to get going once again here. So I'm not going to complain about this whatsoever. We also had JPM tapping into all-time highs yesterday. You know I like this. And someone, I seen somebody mention in the chat just, hey, I don't want to own too much tech. Where can I go? I'm like Staples, financials maybe. You can head into the healthcare via XLV if you don't want to own any specific names. There's so many opportunities. There's so many other places where you can just kind of hide out while the tech is starting to sell. Another strong day, well, I shouldn't say overly strong, but not a horrible day here, Neil, in the airlines once again. Is this an all-time high for Delta? It's pretty close. Oh, no, not quite. All-time high looking like it's going to be over here at $94 there in Delta Airlines. And then let's go through, like, there's RCLH, positive day again, some bullish price action here on the daily. So things aren't looking horrible across the board. Shout out to Airbnb. Are you staying in an Airbnb for your? Oh, you don't have to disclose that. That's fine. TKO. Let's see what else we got going
I can
on.
say no. I'm not.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. That's.
No, actually, no. I've openly said even when we go our yearly trip down to a spring training in Florida. We've done Verbo the last few years.
Verbo? Oh yeah, okay, more family style stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like more family.
And we used to only do Airbnb, but now that's
so you guys are
maybe
Verbo.
the last.
Is Verbo publicly
the last
traded?
3 years?
VRBO.
I don't even know. I don't even know if they are.
No.
I believe they might be under an umbrella of a company that is, but don't quote me on that.
Okay, JPM.
Adara, if you say something, I always quote you on it.
TKO.
I have like blind faith in everything Adara says. Omen says JP Morgan. What about it?
What about it?
It's good.
Top fire, man.
Banks win.
Yeah.
Banks go higher.
Banks. Not VRBO.
Oh, it's down 1% today.
Ooh.
Well, you know what? If tech is getting a bounce and the financials made the all-time high yesterday, or this one did, maybe you just get a little bit of side rotation back out of it. Some profit takers on JPM. I can see. Another one here.
Crazy.
Caught Meta.
I think we might have
Lunch 911. I feel like there's a theme here. I feel like we've seen this super chat from you every single day. Am I wrong about that? Like yesterday you were short Meta.
Oh, yeah.
Today long Meta.
Damn.
Well, congratulations. Maybe the next stop 555 because that's where it was before, not just a made up start to numbers back. You know you're old if back in the day, movies, they all had 555 in the numbers. They don't do that anymore. But like back in my day, that's what they were. Thank you for the super chat. Eli Lilly, that's a Canadian dollars. Eli Lilly and GDXU. Eli Lilly is a winner. Eli Lilly is amazing. We talked about this. We talked about some of the biopharma names as well. Check out AbbVie. That's breaking out the highs as well. Check out the XBI. That's going absolutely ham. Winning, and more winning there. Hey, Jensen, thank you for the super chat. We have a lot of super chats coming on here. Can you guys give your honest long-term opinion on Celsius? First of all, any opinion I give is going to be an honest one. And so I will honestly tell you, I don't have a strong opinion here.
Yeah.
Literally, I have not invested in it. I never have. I've never given it a long look. I really don't like stocks in deep downward trends until they, even from a trading perspective, you've got a little triple bottom, but where's the break of the 50-period moving average? And then I would throw to something that Brian Shannon taught me that saved me a lot of money. Downward sloping 200-period, even if it breaks out here at the 50, downward sloping 200 period, respect prior resistance, and he would say temper your expectations on moves to the upside, and that is save money. An example of that, and I'll give you an example, I believe, here's an example. Palantir holds support, Palantir breaks 50, Palantir downward sloping 200 could not hold the 200 period moving average. Let's go back. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, we'll get this one as well, but we got to go up to Adara for the small cap recap.
Yeah, thank you for the super chat. I see that here. Thank you very much to Zed, a lot of Zeds here. 124, asking for my long-term view in Bitcoin. Well, thank you very much for the super chat. Truthfully, I'm not super well versed on crypto. I don't want to lie and say that I am. I think I prefer to look at things in shorter bursts. So shorter term, I think we need to hold on to that 59K level. I think it'll probably take us, given the whole 4-year halving cycle, a little while potentially for us to get back there. So I would be patient for now. I was also seeing that both equities and crypto tend to dip right after we get a new Fed chair. So right now, I would say be patient. I apologize for not giving you a better answer to your super chat, but I do want to thank you for said super chat. We're going to get into the small cap recap. A couple caveats first. For one, I did look it up and I was correct. Verbo is owned by Expedia Group, which is a publicly traded company, EXPE. So yeah, I guess Verbo is adjacent to a public company. And the other thing I wanted to mention as well, PDD, apparently a massive breach. 310 million Temu user records are being claimed on a dark web website to have been breached. So there was not much of a move here in PDD to the downside, but I did want to make you guys aware. INLF, first one here, the company's called Inlift. This is a penny stock, guys, like 5 cents, so be aware. No brand new news from today, but a couple of weeks ago, they announced they're strategically entering the humanoid robotics market, and they do have a really small market cap here, guys. Be aware, $440,000 or so dollars is that market cap. RCT, Red Cloud, I believe this company, I remember seeing trading again in the past. I think this is a repeat offender, as we like to call it, small cap that's moved before. Red Cloud beginning deployment in India. They're activating their raid intelligence engine across their apparel and footwear data set. Last but not least, IVF is the name of the company. Invo Fertility, this is another name I know for a fact, has rallied in the past, acquiring HRCFG for $175,000 and gaining full control of an Alabama fertility clinic. Make sure to like. Make sure to subscribe. Send you back over to Neil.
Thank you very much, Dara. You know the market is strong when this is starting to feel like DRAM here, right? Like remember this morning, remember the good old days when the shorts in DRAM at VWAP were just printing back into the lows and you could reload all day long? When you didn't have gray hair in your head, when you could go outside and enjoy things without everyone looking at their phones. Well, it feels a little bit different now. The same thing when IBIT was holding that 34 level, and we'd get those pullbacks, and you'd reload, and you'd get the pullback right into the prior resistance level. And then all of a sudden, the buys start to come in, and I'm now feeling the same way I did about the other short, which is, I don't know if I want to reload this one again. Either it's popping down into VWAP or it's not. And if you're wondering why I keep making that reference, it's because I think you can blame Darwin about this. Yeah, Darwin in here. It's Darwin. This is and I don't want you to all pile on. If you don't like the inside joke, then it doesn't really matter. If you get it, you get it. If you've been following the show for a long enough time. But Darwin reminded me. I was like, oh, I got to start doing that a bit more. So there it is. I've done it twice. I'll try not to do it in the next 25 minutes or so, and then I'll probably do it at noon, and then 2 or 3 times in the afternoon for you guys. But remember the good old days, Joe?
What, yesterday? When Wendy?
You weren't here for that?
What's that?
No, they started in
Remember the good old days?
The first one would have been, I like the weekend after like May 2nd, May 3rd. So this would have been the first week of May. Joe didn't join the floor until a couple weeks after. He didn't join the show until September.
How can you remember everything? That is crazy.
No,
I'm not fact checking.
I don't even.
That's crazy, Adara. I don't even know why I'm I'm not sure why I even get surprised at Adara's memory anymore, but I do. Like it's crazy. Like how can you possibly remember that so well?
That's what happens, man.
That would be so cool. I'm telling you, like
elaborate here on the good
high
old
school
days.
would have.
What were you getting? Yeah, you're telling me.
No, it was just it was like probably like the most famous ad we ever had.
Which one was it? The Blue Chew?
Blue Chew, man.
Yeah, I remember. I was watching you guys saying Blue Chew.
Remember the good old
Yeah,
days.
this is see if.
Anyways,
my brain was that good. Yeah, you have no idea. You're telling me, man. I actually had to work.
That would be
study. I mean, so she does.
You still have to study.
Yeah.
You still got to put in work.
Absolutely.
No, man. First of all, Adara's like constantly reading, constantly hunting for news, constantly researching.
Came out wrong, but I wouldn't have to have worked as hard.
She puts in.
Yeah,
she
what's
puts
up,
in that
Andre?
work. What up? Say
Yeah,
what? Who now?
yeah.
Okay, you guys are. So, anyways, there was something else I was gonna get to. It was probably Micron, so we're just gonna go there. Micron, and an apology, because feel free to blame me for making that stupid poll about will Micron. Maybe if I end the poll, does it go back up? Is MU going green? So we made this poll, and when we made the poll, this was when Micron was. And now look at it. So I'm going to end the voting. 76% of those that voted on the poll believe Micron's going green. But now that I've ended the poll, does that mean Micron can resume going higher? It's still 2% down. It's still under the 1200 level. If you're thinking about key price levels, 1200 is an obvious one. Don't want sticky keys. Just really turn that off somehow. No, you don't want this to lose this 1200. Because then you have an inside move underneath the lower highs. And yeah, you could either just end up really choppy, or we could end up with a retrace of the low into the low of the day. But for now, Micron looking still strong.
All right, guys, you already know how it goes. Bright and early every morning, I get to see this individual here before the majority of us and working on the beautiful morning note. Quick reminder that Trader TV Live membership, get Sharif's daily morning research note. Every trading day, the big market stories, key levels, trade plans, catalysts, and what we're watching into the open. It's only $4.99 a month, and you also get members-only videos, posts, custom emojis, and loyalty badges. Hit join below the video to become a member here today. Check it out, man. If you guys like fundamentals, technicals, the whole nine, if you want to see what's moving bright and early in the morning, it's already all done for you with the morning note. We definitely take a look at the majority of those names. You've seen us talking about them every day during the rundown. We go over it in the afternoon. So if you want to get a head start, and you know what we say, the early bird gets the worm here, ladies and gentlemen. So Sharif is here bright and early. He drops the note for you guys. So go and check it out. All right, Minnesota Trader. I had a classmate with photo memory. Yeah, I mean, some good stuff. A moment of silence for our fallen brother, Chris Onion. Yeah, what happened to Onion? Yeah, we should. I stopped receiving the morning email notifications from TVD. How do I fix that? Oh, the watch list? That's a good question. I'll get an answer for you, Brendo. Maybe if you can message me, do they need to sign back up or check the link, scan the link in the morning? So maybe go and see, as of 9 a.m. this morning, Hangry Wife, see what the description says. Maybe you can scan something or put your email into something and you can start receiving the rundown once again, or the morning watch list. So
yeah,
Mr. Gray, what's going on? Neil, what kind of memory? Imagine Adair's argument with a raid against her signature. Oh, yeah. Bernard, we're just not going to continue on that one. A bigger talent, I got a memory like a goldfish says. Hamster.
Well, that's goldfisher. That's bad, right? So
well, it's not good.
Yeah, I won't get into the.
Yeah, we're not gonna. It's definitely lopsided.
Yeah, I would imagine it would be. Entirely one-sided. You know what I'm saying. I don't win money of those with my wife, so
well,
she has a pretty good number.
Yeah, even if you're right, you're wrong. Should pit. Oh,
More or less.
nah.
Just
Go
speaking
ahead.
of, no, I think one of the things that we always talk about here, let me hit send because I wanted to actually even tweet that out, is, you can have a thesis, you can have an idea, you can have a directional bias, but at the end of the day, like, a trade is a trade. And just like with DRAM earlier, like IBIT, it went to my level, we took our short, we reloaded it, there wasn't the follow through, and now it's starting to look strong again. The best you can do sometimes is get out, move on to the next opportunity. I don't know where, it might still be here because technically we're holding out some higher lows, and I might find my way back into it. At least I feel a bit differently about it. Obviously, when I exited DRAM at that moment, I had zero intention of getting back in. Nothing about it looked good at the same price levels. It does look interesting now, but with IBIT, there is at least a chance that this same level can set up again with another topping tail and I jump in to the short. But for now, we got to be able to just take what you can get. Yesterday, obviously your early shorts yesterday would have been a different story, but if you can only get scalp trades, you can only get scalp trades. And as that goes higher, I've now seen Jonathan saying Mara. Look at MARA. I'm going to guess you're probably finding some better moves to the upside in adjacent places. Let's see. I mean, MSTR probably should be. Nope. Wow. MSTR stinks.
Yeah, it does, man.
Okay, so let's.
Doesn't smell good.
Somebody, why is Mara so relatively strong?
Because it's not a Bitcoin miner anymore.
No, yeah, they've changed their tone. Same, Riot's doing the same thing as well.
I shouldn't say anymore. I'm sure they're probably
I don't know about
doing
anymore.
it, but yeah, exactly.
But why MSTR is the weak one. Whoops. And the first thing in the drop down is Toronto.
I think it'd be a leverage play here.
Yeah, that looks weaker. Can I short this?
What are you talking about?
And we even have locates on it too. That's interesting. And then someone says, forget about them, look at Circle. Well, look, you guys are typing. It was what was in the chat first. I could have gone to Circle, but it was Mara and Riot that everyone was putting in there. And then my brain was like first to, hey, well, if I'm trading IBIT, Neil, you should look at MSTR today. Maybe that looks better. But in context, gap fill on Circle, but much like anything else, we've talked about some of these trending down stocks. Yeah, this is all well and good, but if you ultimately don't break out from here, what does the stock accomplish today? A good long for day traders. Granted, congratulations, you got it.
Guys, I also just
but
so
not much more than that. That's all I'm saying. If you don't go any further, that hasn't broken the downtrend unless it closes higher from here.
Guys, just so you know, Hangry Wife was asking about the morning watch list. If you want it, I just reposted it in the chat as well too. Hangry Wife, I tagged you, so there's the link. Guys, go check out the link if you want to get the morning rundown. That's going to be Adara's note, not Sharif's. Don't forget that, okay? Two totally different things. This one's free. It's now. I posted it now, so go make sure you hit that link in the chat, guys, and sign up. So, pardon. It's pinned? Oh, you pinned it. Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah. So there it is, guys. The rundown is crazy good. Yes, exactly. It's all done by Adara, by both of them, the morning note. So if you want from two highly intelligent individuals, some morning names to look over. Whoa. We don't do that, John Womack, around this neck of the woods. As a team, we don't do that stuff. Here it is, Trader TV Live. Jesse, if I don't see your name on the email list, you know what's gonna happen, bro. So it's that
snap.
simple. Yeah, exactly.
Joe's calling people out.
Down, man. Well, Jesse,
Does that mean like ban hammer?
And same with Blicky as well too. Lost players. But other than that, guys, we did get a tap up into 2830. Guys, make sure you go and hit that link. It is now pinned in the chat. BM&R pre-market 1295. It's been a little bit of a tougher look here in NVDA. I don't know why. So let's see if we had that nice consolidation. Maybe we can head back towards the top end of the range. We're still down 1% on the day. So let's see if we can get that pop back up. We did break through the pre-market highs. But other than that, man, if it comes back to break even, we're just going to get out.
Here we go. Chart Hustle. Love the name. I love the creative names in the chat. They're awesome. Semis look weak on the 4-hour chart, but MU popped on earnings. Is this real sector reversal or just a bounce inside of a downtrend? My bias has been pretty bearish, to be real. So it'll be hard for me not to say so. This is going to be the daily chart. I mean, you want a 4-hour chart. It's not going to be vastly different from what's going on in the daily from the highs. But you know what? Let's do it. I'm just going to pull up SMH on E-signal here. SMH and then 4 hours. Can I do a 4-hour? Are you hating on me when I do it that way? E-signal, no? I can't just do 4? I can't just do an hourly chart? Seriously. So I can just go 240. Bruh. Do I have to type the number?
Bruh.
All right, fine. Make me just type the number. It just makes me type 240. Like on this time frame, it's head and shoulders. It's breakdown underneath the 50-period moving average. So that to me means short for now, but it could, like if it breaks, I don't know, about 2 or 3 points up from here, that could end that trend. And the other thing to keep in mind is you said a new pipe popped on earnings, but you know what? If we think about it for Micron, like, yeah, it popped on earnings, but what do we have? We've made the high, not broken it, hold the same low, and could be putting in a lower high. So even that could be like lower highs into a flat bottom after earnings. We've seen it ignore what happens in the first day before and trend down after the fact. So yeah, I still think when you look at it from that side of time frame, I'd still be thinking things look a little bit short in the space. So. But that's just me, and I think the memory names they can move on their own. You saw SMDK was absolutely ridiculous. So the SMH is a lot more than just those names. I did reload back into IBIT. Another topping tail through 34 means another entry and another shot for it to just fade back into VWAP. And Howard the Usher, BMNR pre-market at 12.95. First shot ever on it. Good luck. I don't like the treasury plays they're solid momentum plays to get a little bit more extra juice into, like, instead of, you just play this maybe instead of ETH to get a bigger move. That makes sense to me.
At this point, you do, in my
But that's
opinion,
about it.
Right? At this point, you do.
But would you hold, would you hold this?
But I said I wouldn't buy would I hold it? I don't think so. I think more or less of a longer swing style trade, but what I would want to see is the actual asset class moving before I did. Because I think at this point, there's no point in me buying more Bitcoin at the point where it currently is right now. I would rather go the MSTR route, the leverage style, or the BMNR if I was going to get back into Ethereum.
Yeah, but that's a great long.
I wouldn't go the actual like ETHA or IBIT at this point.
Look at that reverse long. Did you get a trend? Did you get a trend break? It's who was the viewer that sent that just now? Let me get the name back. Shoot, it was Howard the Usher. Howard the Usher. Just you can type it in the chat. You don't have to send anything else. Was that because of this trend break, or was it because the bottoming tail breakout's like at 1290? You could have been doing that. That's a gorgeous looking entry price, for sure. That's the thing. Like, it's a great looking entry price. I think it's something that gets understated. Having a thesis of what direction something is going to go is nice, but actually, like, how and where you get into it, it means more in trading than anything else. Like, that's because whatever led you to that, it could have been the trend break, could have been the bottoming tail candle. Great. Some people, it might be there's the prior low, so when it breaks and consolidates there, that can be an entry. You know, like that one might have the stop of the low. This one might have the stop under 13. They're basically the same kind of risk to reward. It's just one gives you the bottom. So, you know, great looking trade there. Both would be great trades. The VWAP one could be just as good. It's just, fantastic looking entry there. All right, we're about to get. I know this might go lower, but if it does, I'm trying to respect the strength today, and I'm just looking for that VWAP retracement here on IBIT. Right now, it looks like it's trying to give it to me. I'm on the bid. It's not filling. All right, I was already sitting on the bid. I'm just going to move and try to take it right here. And just wrap this one up. Still going to look for the reloads on any more topping tails into 34, but hit me on the bid. Now, there it is. So we just got finally hit on the bid. So the long has really been, the long's been better on Bitcoin or anything in the crypto land, but at least for now, and I think we'll take some more shots at this, maybe underneath VWAP, continuation on any kind of a bounce, but it gave us what we were looking for, so we'll be pretty happy with that.
Yeah. Market's starting to pull back in a little bit here, guys. Let's see if this VWAP hold. This is what I'm looking for. I mean, when you have this big time, I shouldn't say big time, but when you have a pretty strong move to the upside, and you get this pullback on lower volume, there might be some form of a continuation. You just need to be patient and wait for that entry point. We're all out of NVDA. We did get stopped out of our remaining 50% of the position at break even, but now I'm just looking for any form of indecision south of that specific indicator. Same thing with the Nasdaq. I have no issues with running the TQs here. Bitcoin's starting to come back in, AMD. So it's just really market wide where you're getting that curl over. It's just a matter to see if buyers are going to step back in, or it's just going to be like, hey, maybe the sellers start to step back in, or it's just a choppy Friday session, which I have no issues with here. We'll finally mark up a little bit of a dub. You should have took some more off right there, but that shoulda, coulda, woulda. Apple, I know someone was mentioning this name. They say rounded bottom. I think we're already past that, right? Like if we head over to a higher time frame, we've broken it. So 15-minute, we can see it. I don't know what time frame you're referring to. Yeah, beautiful stuff. Yeah, very, very great call out. I like this quite a bit. You can see the base right there at 274. We talked about the potential floor levels as well too here via the options chain. We can pull that up, and they're starting to come into play. So that's not horrible whatsoever. There is a lot of size at 300. Let's not forget that. And we hit 299.77 before we started to sell off a little bit here. But look at the floor and the support system that's been established at 275 via open interest here in AAPL. That's a good indicator for us to, hey, is this going to be the bottom? And then you have a lengthy consolidation around those levels to the point where you say, hey, if I can grab around the lows, then maybe this could be a good opportunity for me to get into some longs on Apple. So whoever called that out, good stuff. Dude, it's not even the Mocha Joe, it's the coffee. It makes me burp all the time. So that's why, and then talking, I don't know why it does that. As soon as I start to talk, I always have to burp. So that's why I say, excuse me. If you want, I can not be polite and just do it out loud, which I don't think I'm going to, regardless of what it is. But yeah, nice call out whoever it was on Apple.
Oh, and with that, it is 10:40 already. Man, time's moving on. I see C is up at the desk, but we are going to go up to the desk to Adara because we got to take care of a little bit of business. It should be that sector watch. I wonder what is looking strong.
Man, you tripping.
I don't know. What? Who's tripping?
Motion.
Weird mic thing there. Health tech to the upside as a group. Eli Lilly leading the pack up about 6%. Retail trade also strong. Consumer services doing well. Health services, much like what we saw with health tech. Good look here as well. Commercial services to the upside. Consumer non-durables mostly to the upside. Tech services where things get interesting. Google and Oracle both pulling back here. You've got Netflix up 5%. Apple up 5%. ServiceNow up 7%. So lots of SaaS strength, if you will. Finance having some areas of strength, MasterCard, Berkshire Hathaway, and Visa, but some of these traditional banks that did really well yesterday after their stress test, they're pulling back today. Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs among them. Now, electronic tech, really weak here, guys. SanDisk, WDC, Marvell, Corning, KLAC, all pulling back sharply. Apple, the lone standout here, rebounding after a very rough session on Thursday. In fact, their worst session over a year. Producer manufacturing also weak. You've got AMAT, Caterpillar, LRCX, and GEV all to the downside, at least 2% each. Caterpillar, AMAT, and LRCX selling off a little bit more aggressively here. Back to you.
Caterpillar?
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Like those things, like all those things that we're celebrating how great the chart's looking like. Oh my goodness. It's like, yeah, this is what everyone was saying yesterday, how they were untouchable. Well, it's right back to where we were 24 hours, not 24 hours ago, but close enough to it. Like, it happens, but still on trend, still holding. I mean, ultimately, trends up have pullbacks, trends up have double top. Like, there's all kinds of things. They have consolidations and then breaks higher. You know, sometimes they go into bear territory. Like, all of these things are perfectly normal when it comes to the trend.
Who's good?
I feel like, you know what? I guess it didn't work. The ending that poll obviously didn't really work out that well for Micron because it still continued all the way down into VWAP. Probably should have reloaded on DRAM. We took IBIT instead. Effectively the same trade. I mean, IBIT to VWAP was the same thing as DRAM would have been to DRAM and VWAP, but they're all bouncing. Like even IBIT just now. Well, no, it's holding. It's holding VWAP. You're getting a bit of a better bounce elsewhere. I just see Blizzardo saying Amazon long, there's some real strength. You know where else there's strength?
Where?
I'm just going to point this one out again. All right. Today, if BlackBerry shows a bounce off of VWAP, don't at least try it, I'm going to be mad with myself. I don't mind missing it early because it wasn't part of the trading plan. IBIT was, DRAM was, those both work. The only thing that I didn't trade that was part of the plan was that Apple 274, because that's not where I was looking at 9:30. I was looking at the other three a little more intently. But this, look at the breakout, hold VWAP, hold VWAP, hold VWAP, hold VWAP. Like, are you kidding me? If this gets to VWAP, I'm at least taking a shot at it.
Yeah.
Up 7% after earnings play. It's also a breakout on the daily above $11. So if it pulls back and bounces, I mean, why not? It's at least worth a try, right? Like, it's got to be worth it. Doesn't mean it has to work, but it's certainly worth it if it gets back down there. Shouldn't have missed that one.
Yeah. All right, guys, put some names in the chat. What's everyone trading? How's everyone's day going? I know we have a poll up there.
Oh, I finished the poll.
Let's see how everyone's doing here. I know Sean likes to get the wave, but we're gonna do red or green here this morning. How's everyone doing? I'm gonna start things off. We're gonna kick it off. See Adair, you can put it in there. I got the big red angry face here. Oh, what happened? Where'd it go?
I see it.
Why is it there? It looked like it was removed. Red says Jesse, boring Marvel. So put your red and your greens up in the chat and see how everyone's performing, guys. It's Friday. Let's not get too carried away. Green, yeah, we got the green in the wave. Like Bear Slayer, that doesn't even really say anything. Hangry Wife got the cash tongue out there. So nice work there. YK giving the okay, we like that. Green from Neil's end of things. We have Trading Nurse, triple green heart. We like that. Shout out to everyone, Google and Path. All right, that's not a color, but we'll take a look at those names to see what they're up to. We got some broccoli up there, one of my favorite vegetables, one of Neil's least favorite vegetables. So opposite on that end.
Kale.
Neil.
I love every vegetable except for broccoli.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't like cauliflower, but there's like lots of ways I do actually like it, so I can't get. And Brussels sprouts.
You like
those
Brussels
two?
sprouts?
No, those are the two.
Yeah.
No.
They smell.
Everything else, I'm good.
Here's Google on the 15-minute, guys.
But
running into this
broccoli,
this pre-market low. I like the crunch of broccoli. Bok choy starting to climb the ranks for me.
Yes.
$340 on Google, guys, heading towards some key pre-market lows. Let's see if we can break through that level and take that next step higher on the 15-minute time frame. A nice indecision print there and some strong upticks. Hopefully that's going to help drive the market a little bit higher here, Neil. Microsoft up 4%.
I hope it does, and you get that continuation. I do. Right now, I'm just kind of hoping. All right, if we're gonna go back higher, just slide back enough to pick up this trend on BlackBerry, because I don't want to be looking at it here just because it's $11 and that's that prior high. That's fine, but I'd rather be looking at the VWAP trade. So I just want it to go down a little bit more. And Daryl Flinch, to your point about broccoli, just throw some cheese on, melt some cheese on it. Look, man, if you have to drench it in cheese for you to get through it, it kind of defeats the purpose for me. Like, I'm talking about vegetables that I just don't need anything. You don't have to season it. I'm just ready to eat, just ready to go. Like, that's why I love kale. I can do that, but like, I just can't do that with broccoli. So BlackBerry is one that's on the mind. I'm still not completely. I don't think I'm done with IBIT here. But for now, it's holding VWAP. It's not really showing any continuation. A name that for the first, it's been a while, we haven't mentioned. I don't know, it's like 10:46, and not a single person on the show has mentioned Intel.
Philly.
Usually that's me, so not that it matters. Micron's a bigger play today. I had DRAM on the mind, so that's what we traded because after it's post-Micron. And memory stocks have been the play. That said,
you got that.
When I see this go right into like right here, we're having this breakout into the close at 131 quarter. Double top 131 quarter. I know it's a bull flag, but I feel like this one it could end up being a breakdown short. It could also just end up being a short at the 131 quarter as well. But that's an obvious level which is standing out on Intel, which I'm also going to add to the list of things that I'm trying to get into for the next trade. Because it's really just been SpaceX didn't work, DRAM did, IBIT did, and then I didn't trade Apple, which was Yeah, obviously this held out really well. Look at the higher lows on Apple too. Held that 74 perfectly, higher low, higher low. Apple's on one today, but it's only 1.5% and it hasn't broken through this top. It's only so good if you don't break resistance. I don't care how strong the market bounces or anything bounces. If it doesn't break first resistance, has it really done anything? Adara? No? Yes.
Keep an eye on this name here. I'm having a good day. So is a lot of the market. But Michael Burry announcing on his Substack he's increasing his position in Lulu. He's been long Lulu. So LULU on watch. I won't say it's squeezing like a lemon, but I will say it's to the upside here. Back to you.
Lululemon, man. I don't even have that on my watch list. I don't even have
exactly
retail. I mean, like on my perma watch list, Neil. Thing that I'm always consistently aims to. I don't have any of the retail clothing brands on my watch list. But are you in any like clothing?
No.
Things? Yeah.
I've had swing trades in Lulu twice.
Yeah. How'd those go?
One was a good win.
Yeah,
the other one was basically flat.
Okay. All right.
Slight loss and some fees, but no, they're a no for me. And it's not. I think there's like a trade that might be in there if you want to, like from time to time. But whoops. And see what muscle memory did?
Yeah, you went Lily.
You know the most. You know how you can tell like real. Real is real.
Real is real.
Like even when I'm talking about Lululemon and saying how I don't really own the stock, and I type L into a chart, I end up going to the stock that I do own in my portfolio without even thinking about it. I type L in a chart without even thinking about it. I'm going to the stock that I like.
Really?
That is so weird. Our brains are just jacked.
When I was trying to type in Netflix, I just go straight to Nvidia.
Well, because my brain knows we don't want to look at Lulu. We like Eli Lilly. We don't like Lululemon. My brain already knows this.
Oh.
It doesn't. I'm just hardwired not to call up this stock unless you guys want to talk about it. And this is why.
Oh, look at FCell go.
Why?
Wow, I got an upgrade this morning too.
What are we doing? Why?
What are we doing?
Look at this thing. Ugh. Yeah. I don't even look at the monthly. It gets worse too. That was a weekly. Look at the monthly chart. No.
Stop it.
No. What else do we have here?
Just pouring salt in the wound. Draw a downtrend line.
I want to see what else I can hit here.
Just hit one more thing. Hit the tree is falling.
Emotional damage.
That's not even emotional damage. That's financial damage at that point. Why would anyone buy? Listen,
well, with a super chat too.
Yeah, man. Why would anyone buy Lululemon when everyone knows the best men's clothing is Paul's Boutique? That's Paul's Boutique, and they're in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. From the BX Connect, shout out. First of all, cheese in a chair, love it.
Have you ever been to
Check out Paul's Boutique in Brooklyn.
Oh.
There you go. Why would anyone like Lulu? Man. That is, look, man, we appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. Well done. Respect, credit is due. And we just said it a couple more times for you in there. So Paul's Boutique. Why not? No, but anyways, just the last thought on that Lulu thing. At some point, it's made bounces in the past. It did this bounce on the monthly chart. This was a good swing here. It was before it was bouncing off the 50 period on the monthly chart, and that was good.
Oh,
it did a very slight bounce off the 200 period on the monthly. That kind of gave you a little bit of a jump, but then it would have stopped you out. So like that would be the more flat trade that was for me. But it's had swings in it before, but the trend is unabated to, I don't even know, what's this level here? $79, $80. See this high on the monthly? Right there. And then it broke out. So 80. The next time I look for a trade in my personal account on Lulu, it's going to be down at $80, just looking at the chart. All right, let's go back up to the desk. I believe we should be doing Money Talks now.
Not only should we be doing Money Talks right now, we will be doing Money Talks right now. Also, guys, a quick headline here in the USO space. Oman reportedly warning European allies that ship fees are likely going to be needed for Hormuz. Now, we know one of the biggest things here with the U.S. and Iran and this deal is that the U.S. does not want there to be any kind of fees here for passage through the Strait of Hormuz. This could become a bit of an issue. In the meantime, let's talk about the DXY, which is having a little bit of an issue here with this 101.70 level, 101.80. We reached this level. This was a multi-year high or over 1 year high that we reached on Wednesday. Pulled back yesterday. Today, pulling back even further. Next level of potential support here that looks kind of obvious in the daily chart. Prior resistance around that 100.6 level. Again, just a speculation. Let's see what actually happens if and when we get there. Let's talk here about University of Michigan consumer sentiment. Slightly lower than expected, 49.5, but above the prior print of 48.9. 1 year and 5 year Michigan inflation expectations exactly in line with estimates, 4.6% for 1 year, for 5 years, 3.3%. Let's talk about inflation and rate expectations here going forward. Here's the CME FedWatch tool, 70% chance of rates getting held here still at this July meeting in now just over a month, but 30% chance that we're going to get a 25 basis point hike. If you look forward, we're still seeing, it's been pretty steady since yesterday, we're going to maybe get a 25 basis point hike in September, but rates held steady beyond that point. Let's see if and when and as we get more inflation data, how all of this changes. Kind of a fun thing I want to talk about here as well during this Money Talk segment. We heard reports today that, according to the Wall Street Journal, that Kevin Warsh has selected 2 Federal Reserve researchers to serve as his advisors. So I wanted to look into these 2 individuals. This has not been posted yet. I'm going to probably post it over the weekend. We've got Daniel Kovitz and Eric Engstrong. Both these individuals, PhDs in economy. Pretty interesting look here. And combined 50 years of experience at the Fed. So these guys know what they're doing. They've worked at the Fed combined for 50 years, focused in different areas here of the markets. What's interesting, too, is they both have their undergrad degrees from the same liberal arts college in Pennsylvania, Swarthmore College, which I thought was kind of interesting. Apparently, this college has produced 6 Nobel Prize winners. So interesting look here for Kevin Warsh's advisors. Again, this infographic for those who are interested in, like me, want a little bit of inside info and some of this type of stuff. You can find this over the weekend on X at TTV Research. Back over to you.
Warsh in the heezy. Yeah. Oh, you know what time it is?
It is. Task Force is actually what he should be called, because I forget who it was. I don't know if you watched the whole thing, Neil. At some point, someone was asking him a question, and he said, yeah, the way he answered, he's like, you know what? Luckily for you, there's a task force for that. So I'm like,
he's a taskmaster.
Yeah, I was like, dude, what's going on? Yeah, was it? Yeah. It's like, luckily for you, there's a task force for that. So Task Force is the name. And I don't know if Wolf of Wall Street is the one, because he's actually trying to decouple from the way that the market reacts to the Fed decisions.
It is true. But it's 10:55, everybody. So I got to. Sharif has already seen it. I am going to scroll down to see what it is as well. Okay, yesterday we had the American flag. Today we have the Italian flag.
Oh yes, meatballs, spaghetti and meatballs.
It is not spaghetti and meatballs, believe it or not. We've got a classic beef and cheese lasagna. Which I don't know that they've done before.
Oh, yeah, the carb police to the left of me is like, oh, man.
You want the carb police?
Yeah, I got to watch out, man.
Well, if you like carbs, I got more for you, because it also comes with garlic bread, everybody.
Hey,
so garlic bread on the side, roasted seasonal vegetables,
Lock me up,
Italian chopped salad.
Lock me up,
carbs to the left of them, carbs to the right of them. Volley and thunder.
Lock me up, officer.
What do you mean lock? There's nothing wrong with carbs.
I'm going to carb jail, my boy.
If it tastes good. If it tastes good.
Carb jail?
If it tastes good.
No, why would I be going to park there?
We might be sleeping in the afternoon show that way. That's Blinky Spears.
What's up, Blicky?
Yeah, we'll get that pizza. Don't worry about it. But I don't want to waste the lunch. I'm still got to add a taste.
Waste that, man.
It's gonna be here, so I'm gonna throw a little bit of it down. We'll save some room for the pizza. I don't know if anyone decided where we're getting the pizza from. I believe I left that task. I left the task up to Ramin and Fabian. They can decide. Everyone else can decide what we're doing with the pizza.
We don't want to.
As long as the pizza is real pizza, and you know what I mean by that.
Tasks over there. That's not the task force.
What do you mean? Oh, okay, I got you.
There it is. Joe with a W for the lunch. Yeah, good stuff, guys. I'm looking to get involved here with something. Someone mentioned fuel cell. It's been on a pretty big run. I mean, you can't chase it all the way up here. That's a quick 5% on this bad boy today. Even more, 10% maybe here on F-Cell, Neil, as this name continues to climb a little bit higher. Nice consolidation and then a nice rip upgrade here on today's session. So some of the analysts liking this name. Is there going to be an indecision print here on Bitcoin? Are we going to start to climb a little bit higher? Maybe we take a stab, guys. Like, think about how much I used to trade IBIT. I very rarely trade it these days, but there's going to be a good opportunity, I believe, for us to get involved here with Bitcoin. So with that being said, it's a couple of minutes away before the midday. So finally, my family Joe looked at my ticker. Oh, my family. You will catch me momentarily to the left of me. I'll let Neil close things off as I go and set up over there.
Of course, he doesn't speak for like five more seconds.
Sorry, dude. I didn't even see that. I can continue to go, man. You know me, I can ramble on a little bit longer.
If there's a running theme on the show, it's catching me eating while I'm on the show. So it is what it is. No, but there's some names in here that are getting thrown around. FCell, up, BE, down. So let's go to the fun one because Fuel Cell is absolutely, this is what you call an uptrend. Now, I was impressed with BlackBerry, but FCell, that's a different ball game. It's a 10% short flow right now, so it's not even as big as it used to be over on FCell. But mini squeeze is a squeeze. Look at the trend on this. This is not some small capper which has been pumping and dumping or anything. This has been in an uptrend. Look at it respect the 50-period moving average. And now you're getting this local break today. Now, obviously, if we're keeping it real, you got a double top up here at 26. So anyone that's long from down there is probably looking to ring the register when it loses the trend or just to take 26. That's an obvious kind of spot. But it hasn't had any hiccups. On a 15-minute, there are 0 red candles. It was, what was it yesterday? It was Palantir in the IGV and Microsoft in the afternoon at 1% yesterday. At one point yesterday, where they were just kind of trending up. That was Palantir. Microsoft was an extreme one. I remember saying to myself, first red candle, go short. And when the first red candle of Microsoft happened, went short on Palantir. I would look at FCell for myself in the same way. Like, it's a crazy trend up. Forget about the 3. First red candle on the 15-minute, as long as we're not destroying this 26 level, and I'd probably look for a reversal. Just this way I like to look at it. I'm not going to chase a move like this, so I'll be still looking for that BlackBerry. Hopefully it'll bounce into VWAP and we can take. But FCell's got to be on the radar. That's so distinct, all green. That's just a reversion trader's dream. So it's 11 o'clock. We're going to enjoy some lasagna, of course. We're going to throw you on over to, you've seen them already. Joe's been putting in work all week, and he'll be putting some more work in next week. We also have the professor. Go get him, boys.
Right?
Really?
Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. As Tiffany. Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. This is your boy, Joey freaking Options. If you didn't see him already on the morning show, I am Sharif. And let's say hello to... Hello, Joseph. Let's say hello to everybody. Mr. Kevin G. We got Pattern Day Trader US. No. There's no more any of that. PDT rule out, baby. We got Terrible Trades, Bob the Builder, Duke, 64, Arun Warrior. Why not? We got my man Ichiro. Yes, it is all sorts of Friday. Ichiro, more please. I could not be. Tisha, help us out
what's
here.
Up, Tisha? Where's Casey at?
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll find out in a second, man. Hold on, man.
Breathe a little.
Trading nurse. Edward Paperhands, Adam James Broad, my man, Alan Baumgartner, Manny Hernandez, like the real Hernandez, not
real
Martinez, Hernandez. D-Loaf, my man. We got Hangry Wolf Uncle. Frico Suave on the rock.
I don't have it.
Green Day says Ichiro. We got McGrevo, Quadruple One, and Don Baca. It's not a day unless Don Baca's in the house. Shout out to my man Blicky. Ooh. We got Man Sing 359 and Marco Hernandez, Pablo Cesar, as well as Crazy Z Plays. Andrew Chow in the house as well. Joey Eric Kaufman, Buffalo Soldier. Morpheus, Kirk D, let's go, and Grunfeld, Georgie 22, Aura Blaster. He's blasting the aura everywhere. You know what I mean? Like anyone who comes near his presence is endowed with aura.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right,
I wouldn't mind
man.
being around his presence, Joey.
What's
Get a
his
little
name again?
aura. I don't aura something or another.
Oh, all right. He's just...
Egypt versus Iran
Oh.
tonight. I love my Persian people. Persian people are some of those people in the world. You guys tonight, man. We're gonna get you guys, man. We're going to Seattle, Joey. I told Brenda. I'm either gonna be off Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna be here Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, depending on how this game goes, man.
You check your email, my boy?
I did, which is why I did message Brendo about that issue.
All right, man. Just making sure, man.
Exactly
You gotta make sure
reason.
you pass it through me as well, too.
I gotta confirm it through Joey Options.
So I'm
he's
still
the
thinking
executive
about it.
producer of the
I
show.
haven't stamped it yet. So.
All
All right, man. Fire it up here.
All right,
here we
Joey,
go.
I
We're
got a
gonna
lot to
hold
talk
on.
You already were
Hold on.
talking,
No, I
man.
didn't. Huge shout out to VinFast for sponsoring today's video. They just announced a massive partnership with AutoBrains and Nvidia to bring level 4 agentic AI autonomous driving to life. We're all talking next-gen intelligent tech that is completely redefining how we hit the road. If you want to see what the actual future of driving looks like, click the link in my description and check out VinFast today. I'm not sure. Bravely. What's going on, man? I don't know. Hey, man, we got to pay some due diligence to our boy over there.
Go ahead, Joey.
We're going to give a couple of shout-outs.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
Bravely's in the chat. He's posting it every day, man.
Bravely's
so don't think we
educating
forget.
us, man.
UPDX. You like him more because he likes football. Guinness,
and he likes Arsenal.
and he likes Arsenal.
that very
Ellie,
clear. Yeah.
Gene Guy Hude, Michael Abraham, Doberman, Dora, Diana. What's going on?
Diana.
Not Diana Ross, though. Shaq,
Oh.
Disodato. Okay, that's some Spanish there I can't read. Carol Chronicles,
Hello,
Realtor
Carol.
Farm Kids, Mick, Glom547, a couple more T, Naomi, Django, Bossman, Vault, and we have CG Lucia, Simon Says, User, and Kiara. Okay to Ace. Okay to Ace is always in the chat. Shout out to you and thank you for joining us every day, ladies and gentlemen. Much appreciated.
Absolutely, man. Adam, come on.
What do you say, man?
Adam, you put me in such precarious positions.
Why, man?
Well, just look at the super, bro.
Oh, I didn't even have to pull it up.
Come on, bro. No,
Or you can't pull that one up.
All right, let's get right down to work, guys, because things are moving and we've got a lot. Tisha, where are you at, Tisha? Because I'm liking the look of AIIO's jib over here. It looks it's quite a good jib, Joey. 455 trading into the high of the day. Good move here. Good structure. Volume on AIIO picking up. It's not great. It's a little bit more than 3.25 million shares, but this is a good looker over here. What is this ILLR? This is halted down. Yeah, I've got nothing to do with that. And I found a new ASTS. ETF. This one is not inverse. I think this is 2 times leverage long because ASTS is moving well. So this is ASTX. It's a decent price, 18.25. I think most of us can wrap our mind around that. PYXS as well. This one is looking kind of bull flagish here. We'll see if it's got the juice to keep going. It's got a $3 on the dot high, trading above the volume weighted average price. And every time I pull up DFTX, more pleased I could not be. But there it is, 45.75, not quite where we got yesterday, got to 47. This is the old MindMed. This is MNMD. It is now trading DFTX and has been this way, I believe, for a few months. And another swing of mine, the Sell, F-Sell, really selling, not selling itself short at all over here because it is up. And you know what? It's not moving with Bloom Energy today. Bloom, that hot garbage, I don't hate it. I love it. I'm just joking. 13.25% negative, Joey. Take a look at the Sell. 27 4/5% up to 25.50. We're nicely in the money on this one. Very pleased. SLS moving up as well, Joey. Not the Mercedes SLS. Randy would love that joke.
Where is Randy?
He's not here. It's Friday. Come on now. You've been here a minute. 1194. Joey is trading at, high day, trading at 1185. That SLS looking pretty good. A lot of respect here for the 10 EMA on the 5. And then Huma. Where are my penny stock traders at? You guys are going to love this, guys. Low at 61 pennies, high at day 76.5. This one is all gas, no brakes. Barely touches a 10 EMA, maybe touched it once at like 930 or 935. HUMA, the ticker. Can you believe I've got more? ATAI, look at this multi-day runner on this bad boy. Fantastic move up, fantastic move up. ATAI trading into the high of the day. Joseph Options, we just got to 513, taking out yesterday's high of 481 and breaking through that $5 area. ATAI. Those are the 8 that I'm looking at. Unlikely to trade DFTX and probably unlikely to trade FCell just because of the bias that I do have with those. We're gonna look for some others. Yeah, you don't ever feel like a position of yours influences your intraday trade bias at all?
Yeah, for
It
sure,
does
all
a
the
little
time.
bit,
Yeah.
right?
I try not to. I try to also.
Exactly.
We were talking about it this morning. I try to disconnect the long term from the intraday, but sometimes it most definitely comes into factor. Let's see if DRAM's going to start to print something here that we're looking for. Take some time for things to turn around. Tesla putting in a good one via TSLA. Not too bad of a look, guys. We're going to switch some things up. I don't know why I have Hive Digital up over here on my thing, but we're going to head over to DRAM. Cause some drama on this one there, Sharif. And see if we can get this rock and roll. It's going to cause a lot of drama here this morning because I was telling everybody, I don't know if you were, I know you were here, but your boy got taken to the behind the woodshed there. Me. Yeah, we got lit up here on one of your small cap names. Yeah, SHPH. All your fault, my boy.
I'm sorry, bro.
Yeah, that's all right. And then we got rinsed on AL here today. There was a 23-cent spread. I'm just looking at my blotter now at this point. So yeah, 2 heavy hits right out of the gate, bright and early. Never the way you want to start things, but hey, it can go one way or the other. You know how, and you guys know how my mentality is, to be honest with you. I'm one step away from one trade, one step, whatever it is. So we just remain with that winning mindset and keep things going. But other than that, I'm not going to complain about today's session, right? We're finding some form of a recovery. Is it anything monstrous? No, I'm not saying that whatsoever. You're going to get an inside day here on Apple. Michael Noss was talking about this morning, but hey, Sharif, I'm looking to buy some a little bit here, to be honest. I like it. Down 12% off of the all-time highs, a couple strong sessions to the south. Now you're going to have this inside day. What do I mean by that? You're going to stay in between the close and the open on today's session. I highly doubt the fact that we're going to break through it, but any form of recovery is better than no recovery, especially in Palantir when you're still down 53%. Maybe just a little bit of a relief rally, but on the grand scheme of things, nothing crazy. Let's send it off to Sia.
Yeah, just keep an eye out on Apple. There was a bit of a downtick, but it's climbing back up a bit, coming in that Apple's Touch MacBook will be featuring MS Pro and Max chips with M7 models that'll be coming in soon. Just repeating, Apple's Touch MacBook will be featuring MS Pro as well as Max chips with M7 models coming in soon. Apple on the uptick a little bit.
Great segue, Sia, because I was watching TikTok, my favorite social media platform far and away, yesterday. And someone came up with a fantastic accessory for your MacBook if it's not touch, which it's not. So it's this basically very clear glass that goes on to your MacBook Pro, so the laptop. It connects via, I think, micro USB-C. So it just connects on the side, and you touch it, touch screen. So all the older MacBooks, my guy, all of a sudden, their screen. I'm gonna get this thing on YouTube. I want to show you guys this. Super cool. So obviously, I don't think that changes anything for Apple because anybody wanting a new MacBook going forward could get the touchscreen. But if you have an older MacBook and you'd like to have that touchscreen functionality, there is an accessory for you now. Yeah, I know. It's so cool. I guarantee you can find it. I'm going to find it in a second here just to show it to everybody. But yeah, that's what I have to say about Apple.
Yeah, I mean, we like Apple. Ooh, that's a tough take there.
Transform it into a Blakey. What?
Why
are you?
I'm against fingerprints. Oh, Jesse, man. All right, that's all right, guys, man. I hope everyone's having a fantastic. We went through how everyone's session was going here today. If the narratives change, feel free to let us know. But I'm not seeing anything really attractive at this point. Adam James gave us a super chat. If we can pull that up, we'll take a look at that bad boy. But I don't see anything from a large cap standpoint or a small cap that I'm really in love with. So maybe I'll just mirror. No, I'm not going to finish my sentence there because that's not what we promote or condone around these neck of the woods. S.SHPH. Thanks, Adam, for that call out, obviously being sarcastic. It's not your fault, man. Don't ever think. If someone comes in here and blames you for their trading, then they got a little bit of bigger issues. So SOX S to the downside, IVF not doing anything. A lot of these names below the volume weighted average price, and I'm not liking the look of them. So, I mean, it might be, hey, this is it. We put some stuff on for you guys, but nothing from a substantial size standpoint, right? Like, I'm not going to just throw out risk out there, considering. So we can have a little bit of fun. We can toss some shares around, but it's not going to be anything where we're trying to achieve an objective. It's just say, all right, let's put it out there, and we'll see where it goes from here. No real heavy due diligence. Yeah, let's pull up ABCL. This is his favorite large flow, but good swing he's talking about here.
Yeah, it looks good intraday.
Is that the daily?
Oh, that's the intraday. That's a 5-minute intraday. Shout out to Adam. Good look here, man. Higher lows, higher highs, upward channel, very straight. You're at a decision point, though. Do you hold 7? Most of the prints, in fact, all but one at 955 are all putting in higher highs and higher lows. So perhaps base your trade off ABCL or off that 10 EMA. Good call out there. AIIO, we're still in this. I've got one profit taker through the highs, but I'm looking at defending that 4.5. So the reason I'm liking that 4.5, I perceive 4.5 to be a bit of a resistance level that was tough to shake. And so if that's going to be the case, then my move here is I'm looking for 4.5 to be support. Now I'm going to front run it, and I'm not going to stop out right below 4.5, lest there be a wick that gets me in and out. So we're going to get more long at 455 or thereabouts. And then I'm not saying where my stop is, but my stop is somewhere secretive. Now, the point is really here, what I'm looking for is for this to hold trend, right? I'm not looking for it to hold any exact price level. I like this general area as a dip trade. I like this general area to profit take right into $0.75. So that's my move on AIIO. I'm not exactly pleased with the sporadic volume that comes in. Yeah. And that's what this one is typically doing. What I do like, though, with respect to volume, is that the volume bars are all green. In fact, most of the smaller volume bars are all red. So that kind of gives you an idea of which way the volume's headed. In fact, it's dropping into 60 right now. We've got 66s. But again, my move on this one is to get in a bit of a dip trade. FCell coming into the 10 EMA on the 5. I'm not going to trade this, but this could be an interesting area. You had another, I would say, 25 to 30-minute consolidation here from 10:20 to the breakout at 10:45, so 25 minutes, where it held the 10 EMA. Here it is. This is a bit of a different pattern. This is the 4th red candle and a loss of prior bar low and a rejection of $25. I would say a failed break, if it continues in this way, of $25, $25.50, moving down into $24.60 now. The sell, there you go. HUMA, guys, this is one of those ones where you can take several 100,000, 10,000 shares and have ample liquidity to get in and out. I don't think it's going to be that one to explode into the dollar, at least not yet. I'd like to see what it does in and around 74 where the 10 EMA is, but right now it's still a little bit above that. ATAI look good here, Joey. I don't know if you like that kind of look. This is a multi-day play. I try to get your attention about it.
About it, yeah.
You like that one or no? You're not a big fan?
It's too, like, I'm not going to buy it up there.
You're not going to buy it up there.
Are you buying it up there?
Well, we could. If it comes back into 505, perhaps test 5, that would be something that I look at. Okay. We did get the ad here on AIIO at 55s. Now it's make or break time. It's got to hold my levels. Otherwise, we're gonzino. Joey.
Adam James saying 180 on AMD by Monday. Brother, I swear I seen you this morning being like, yeah, boom, AMD, yeah, breakthrough, VWAP. Anyways, I'd buy a whole bunch if I could, if it came down to 180. Guys, thanks for pointing out some names where we're looking for some strength. A lot of people pointing out Microsoft in a nice steady uptrend here today, guys. A couple other names in some strong uptrends. So, I mean, we can find some strength somewhere. Apple doing the same thing, finally breaking it and finding its way there. Google started its recovery, punched through the volume-weighted average price. Now you're clearing through some pre-market lows. Very low liquidity on that end. But DRAM now starting to fall into some areas that are really attractive to me. So what I'm going to do is, oh, there we go. Perfect. That fixed me. But anyways, what we have, right, we want to keep our trend lines in to make sure that we're not going too heavily against them. Because if you don't have a 1-minute candle open up on the backside, maybe the probability of your trade is going to slowly decay. Now, we have an indecision print right at VWAP here on the Nasdaq. That's some positive signs. I like it, especially if what do the English call him? This geezer right here, Nvidia, starts going.
He's becoming the biggest NVDA here. right?
Bro, I
Every morning,
own it, man. I feel like
know,
I
bro.
talk about
let
it
me
too
let me
much, though.
exaggerate my point a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit.
yeah, go on,
you
go
know,
on.
like, because every morning I hear he comes in, he sits down, he
Yeah.
starts doing the options, he pulls up the Nvidia charts, he drops a couple of backhanded comments about Nvidia, this, that, and then we all, yes, you're
You guys
right,
have to
Joey,
hear it,
right?
man.
And then
This guy, that's crazy.
I know, man.
Yeah.
He does love.
I know it's a love-hate, man. You know what it is, Sharif? It's like
sir.
it's like that one child that you expect a little bit more from. You're not getting what you're expecting because you know the potential is
That's
there.
a good example,
Right? Like, 'cause it has the potential, and for some reason, it's just not living up to his performance, or like paying Vladimir.
We should have paid Bo
Guerrero,
That's who we
whatever his
should have
name is.
paid.
You should no.
How's he doing, by the way,
He's
in
not
New York?
good, man.
He's
I
not
remember
doing
at
well?
one point the Mets dropped Vladimir Guerrero. The Mets dropped like 13 in a row or some point at that
How's he
time.
doing though? Is he?
No, I don't
having a
think.
good
No, he's
season?
not he's not having the same season that he had last year. Ernie Clement was our guy. I know he said that before. But no, in all seriousness, it's just literally that name that you would expect to perform a little bit better, and it just isn't. So it's not living up to its potential right now. That is, things can always change. Here's DRAM. This is going to be my primary objective here today. Nice downtrend, right? So as long as we break it and then we start to climb a little bit, then I can have a good chance to buy a little higher. There might be something stepping into the market.
Okay,
I don't think
Iran
anything.
and Oman.
Yeah, there you go. Pull it up.
All right. Iran and Oman customs chiefs propose a joint committee to implement a customs agreement. Okay, that doesn't seem market moving, Joey. Iran and Oman customs chiefs propose a joint committee to implement. Okay, here there's more. No. That's the same thing, Joe. So I don't think that.
Yeah, and it wasn't anything crazy anyways. It was just a slight volume increase, nothing to write home about. But yeah, as for my spiel, there goes Tesla continuing to grind a little bit higher here, guys. And then now we're looking for the trend line break in DRAM. So that's my primary objective. I don't know why I have Owl up here, Blue Owl up on my chart, but let's see if some trend lines can start to be broken.
All right, Tisha, let's see this. Sharif, I know it's below VWAP, but what about QUCY or IVF?
Yeah,
but I'm asking you, it says, all right, let's check it out, Tish. I think, the market's a little bamboozling today, so let's have a look together and see what together we can come up with here. Let's start with the first one, Tish, QUCY. Yeah, so compression pattern, but in the wrong direction, Tish. I'd like a 195, a 2 clearance, right? And then you know how I get concerned about these, that they end up being failed VWAP breaks, and we end up getting shorts piling into QUCY. So I don't immediately hate it. Don't get me wrong. I'd like to stick to my rules on this one. Now, having said that, Tish, Bovin and Casey and some others, they're quite good and quite adept, in fact, at taking these below VWAP for the VWAP retracement itself, and then they get out at VWAP. I tend not to do that. I just tend to stick with the rule that, if it's below the volume weighted average price, as a general rule, that sellers are in control. That's not exactly true because buyers could be in control at one moment in time. So I just try to stay away from these. But look, man, it gets above 2, different conversation. Let's look at the other one that you were saying, Tish, IVF, I believe, is the one that you were mentioning there. Yeah, IVF. Let's look at that. Yeah, quite consolidative. A little bit of a much different pattern, in fact, than QUCY. The thing about this one, Tish, it actually made the move yesterday, not even early in the aftermarket. It was right around 5 o'clock. So this thing closed out about $1.25, $1.23. When all was said and done, in the aftermarket, we got to $1.28. Then all hell broke loose. In the pre-market, 4 a.m., we spiked up to 255, but on good volume, mind you. Like, look at these volume bars in the middle of your screen here. These are not insignificant. They're about 1.5 million shares a pop. And then we made another attempt there. I want to say 435 into about 2.5. We did it again during the implied balance open. But each and every one of these pops, Tish, is a lower high. Right? Area high, and area high. They're all lower than each other. So some pressure there. Moreover, it's dancing with this localized downtrend over here. It's also technically below VWAP. Not my favorite, Tish, especially with so many other names moving: SLS, ATAI, HUMA, FCEL, ASTX, AIIO. Sorry to the person in the chat who called me out for saying AIOO. I didn't mean that. And some others. Yeah, not my favorite, but I don't think they're bad. I think that they definitely have to get above key levels to get involved, Joe.
All right. No, don't worry about it, brother. We'll take a look at mRNA here. We might have...
Look at this, Ben Affleck. I love this comment here, Joey.
I love Ben Affleck. What do you say?
Black beans with eggs plus avocado. Am I bulking? I think that's a hell of a meal, man. I got no problem with that. Are you kidding me? You got avocado. You got good fats, fibers. You got black beans. You got mix of protein, good complex carbohydrates. I think there was a polysaccharides. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And you got eggs, man. You got all the essential amino acids in that bad boy. You got good protein. You got fats. I have no problem with that. I don't even call that a bulking cycle.
Ben Affleck also said that Trader TV Live was going to be American territory by the last week.
He said that, huh?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Made me laugh.
Say that again,
Do I ever eat
Fabian?
raw? No.
Do I ever eat raw eggs? No, but I saw Rocky Balboa do it in a movie. Well, I think he should be concerned about salmonella poisoning, though. No, Fabian? Like, because that, yeah.
Some people will be drinking.
Rocky seemed okay in the movie, though, so if he did it in the movie, I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, you
Right?
can survive. Yeah. Sure.
Exactly.
For sure, you can survive that. All right, guys. Yeah, we're going to take a look at mRNA. Like, there's a couple of names that are just steady up and to the right at this point, right? And this is one of them. So, yeah, really, really good look. I'm not going to complain. And you did tell us about this an hour or so ago, and it's still stair-stepping higher. From a daily standpoint, nice breakout here as well. So, yeah, this was another name that I was fortunate enough to be a part of. And I literally just apparently my best strategy of life, Sharif, is just having as little knowledge as possible and then Googling what is the leading company that is either going to be in the marijuana industry or who is leading the race in the vaccine in COVID, in the vaccine race. And apparently it's mRNA and we Canopy Growth Corp on both of those. And those have by far been my best investments ever. And sure enough, you have a high of around $400. So come on, bring another crisis. Or, no, don't. I'm being sarcastic. Let's find something.
Bro.
Yeah,
please,
no.
Had enough, Joey.
You didn't like. I told you.
And oil.
Yeah, we don't need that stuff. Yeah. So I mean, that's where the opportunity really lies. Unfortunately, Sharif, and we say this, and it's an stock market saying, like, where there's a crisis somewhere going on globally, there's an opportunity within the financial markets. As unfortunate as that may be.
Absolutely accurate.
That's the reality in which we live in. But yeah, Moderna looking really, really good here. How's Pfizer been doing, actually? Pfizer, how have you been? I mean, not good either. This is never really one of those names that gave you pure capital appreciation. The dividend is more or less what you're going to be looking to collect on this bad boy, and I don't even know if it's really worth that much. 43 cents on a $24 name isn't horrible, to be honest with you. So yeah, that's what we got going on there. SPY near the high of the day. Q's almost as well, too, guys. Waiting for that trend line break, which just happened in DRAM. We're involved with it.
All right, Joey, I got to tell them about this. A quick reminder, Trader TV Live members get Sharif's, mine, daily morning research note every trading day. We're talking about the big market stories, the key levels, the trade plan, the catalyst, and what we're watching into the open. It is only $4.99 a month, and you also get members-only videos, posts, custom emojis, and loyalty badges. Hit join below this video. Hit join below this video to become a member. And just by way of example, you want to see one that's real life. Let's go through it, okay? Because it's quite detailed. Let me just go through this over. Let's just go through the Apple memory costs, Spark sell-off, but long-term thesis intact. So you get the story, why Apple dropped the worst or had the worst drop in a year, and what the new technical areas of support and resistance are. And you're going to get multiple variants. You're going to get a 15-minute chart analysis, what I suggest for an intraday trade. And then you're going to get a 4-hour chart analysis, what I would suggest for a swing trade. You're going to get the structure for the 15-minute. You're going to get the structure for the 4-hour to understand what you're looking at, not just key levels, right? Why am I looking at this? You're going to get a bias. You're going to get a short-term bias, an intermediate-term bias, and key levels to support that bias. Below that is the trade plan itself. If A happens, then B, then, look for C, so to speak. And you're going to get that both for the intraday, and you're going to get that both for the swing. And then below that, you're going to get the catalysts you need to be looking out for. Key things within the industry that you may not think of. For example, supplier guidance, gross margin expectations, any indication of iPhone price increases, which we didn't get yesterday. More on that in the news segment. And then the execution mindset, how you should be looking at this from a broader sense to come at you sort of more from a high level. And usually we have about 14 or 15 different stories, each one with its own page, and it repeats in that way. So make sure you're getting that. It helps you kind of organize your day and know exactly what the levels to look at, especially if you're a newer trader too, right? And you dealt with some TA, this definitely will be right down your alley, Joey.
That's your thing, man. All right, let's go DRAM. Should have grabbed some more. Gaurav, nice look there on the Nasdaq at volume weighted average price. I was doing the exact same thing, but I'm like, you know what? Let's just go with this name here. But this has most definitely been a little bit stronger. So a nice little recovery on this bad boy. You can see that in indecision print right there on the 1 minute time frame. And then you get a nice leg up. Obviously, the next question being, are we going to run into a new high of the day? Look at the SPY go, significantly stronger than what we're experiencing here in the Nasdaq. A lot of names dragging, and it's that one right there. So let's head over to our watch list actually before we send it back to Shreve and see what we have going on from a financial standpoint. Shout out to TKO Holdings. Should have grabbed more of that news. You see TKO, Shreve?
No,
go check it out, my boy. Go check out TKO. We'll actually do it right now for you, brother. So no need to rush. TKO, bang, click, clack on there. Dana White and company over our boy Vince McMahon. I don't know if he's still actually the CEO of it anyways, but aside from that.
He's not CEO, but I think he's the chairman.
Yeah, he's the chairman. So it looks like we're at this pace, Sharif. We're going to break through this 215 mark, head up over into 227. So, I mean, it's such a small percentage of my portfolio, to be honest with you. But here's the banks. I want to talk about them. JP Morgan down 1%, Citi down 1.7%, but Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs down 3% here on the day.
What'd you call it?
Sachs. But it's Goldman Sachs.
My man.
Goldman Sachs 9 point. You actually called it that because people said, "Hey, did you say this?" And I'm like, "I didn't say it." And then you're like, "It sounded like you said it."
We're saying it now.
Well, we're saying it now. So that's their new name. We got a big time movement coming up for you guys here momentarily. HKIT.
Yes, sir.
You know Josh Hokit, Sharif?
No, I don't. Who is he, Joey?
You're gonna have to look up this.
We're gonna have to look it up.
There it is. 36 cents.
Let's welcome SF Cox. 5510. Thank you for joining.
Man?
Shout out to SF Cox. You get the morning note every day. Welcome to Trade V Live. Premium membership. Shout out to you, my man.
Oh, why didn't I take more sides on this? There goes DRAM right back to the top side. Gaurav, nice call out there, brother. As the Nasdaq is heading towards the high of the day and the SPY is actually just blowing things through the water. Who's driving this higher at this point? Healthcare, Sharif. Probably pretty strong here in the SPY. Financials not performing that well, but then you have that right below it. So, and the funny thing is Caterpillar's down as well too here today, guys. But something stepping into the market. There goes Nvidia. We're really starting to rock and rolling here.
Talking, Joey.
There he goes. Oh,
I am
what did this
concerned
guy
about
say?
inflation,
He's
especially in services. Yeah, he's concerned a lot, Joey, the crash man. I am seeing some signs of life in the labor market. Okay, nice, crash. Inflation move up. Inflation move up, not just about oil in the Middle East. So he's blaming it on other things. He says, I see rates on hold in 27. Okay. It was an appropriate time to reset the FOMC statement. He goes on to say, I have one rate hike penciled for 26. We're going to have to see how no forward guidance works. Of course, we're referring to the new Fed chair's structure, Joey. So some of the comments there coming in from Crash.
But Kevin Warsh made it very clear that he doesn't want the market to be reacting to what the Fed says. He said he'd rather have the market react to how the banks react in some form of way.
He should set up a task force to ensure that happens.
Well, good thing for you, Sharif. There's one set up for that. literally a task force for that. But no, in all seriousness, he really wants to decouple the Fed from the financial markets.
Yeah, I know. I like him, Joey. We'll see how
Like
he
him?
does. Yeah, I do.
I don't know enough about him just yet.
I liked what I saw from that initial presser. Let's see, like that's a small sample size.
Yeah.
Shout out to Pan Andrews 7168. Thank you for joining, Pan Andrews. You get my morning note as well. I'm assuming you joined for that. Thank you. And let me just show everybody exactly where it's at, because it is in a bit of an obscure area. So we're going to show you how to get it. All right. So you're going to mosey on over to the YouTube homepage for Trader TV Live. This is what it's going to look like. Let me just go into the other account, because I'm technically not a subscriber in my personal account, Joe.
You're not?
Yeah. No. And then you go over to posts right there. So you're going to see the tabs at the top. Go over to posts. And then mosey on down right here. The first one, morning market brief. You click read more, a quick summary of what it is. And at the bottom, there's going to be a link. You click that link, and then boom goes the dynamite right there. Thank you for joining, Joey. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's all right. I'm pretty sure it's monetary policy there.
Oh yeah. Well, I've been instructed to
Jesse,
do this,
my boy.
Joey.
Yeah, no, do your thing, man. Show them the ways of the road. Other than that, man, a nice move up to 73.80. Man, Gorv, I'm glad that you had that for that high of the day move. That's a really, really good look. Rocket Lab for some reason on my chart, but we did have the trend line break in DRAM. Cracks it and then off to the races it goes. So let's see if we go and test that high of the day. Excuse me, we'd like some more shares, but guys,
okay.
It's your favorite time of the day. We're going to send it off. We're going to take a look at some of the European closes with Juan and Adara.
Get it, Juan.
Kashkari, who cares? No, I'm joking, but we do have as well with us at 11:30 a.m. One, to talk about the Euro close. What should we know about the Euro close today?
Thank you, Adara. So European markets closing in the red as Middle East essence shattered any ceasefire optimism, as well as some rapid global exit in risk assets before the weekend. So we see stocks Euro 600, that was down by 0.85%, mainly tech corrections, as well as a huge news on Zalando. I'll go into detail a bit of that later. Stocks 50, Euro Stocks 50 also down by more than 1%. They were hit hard with growth to value rotations and broad weekend hedging. But like the main story that I mentioned earlier, basically that Iran drone strike on ships near Oman, that basically reversed energy market declines. The SIBO volatility index also spiked past 21 threshold, and market risk was rapidly reassessed as shipping lane friction basically clouded macro hopes. So I mentioned a bit about that Zalando. Basically, in Germany, retail faced localized shock. Zalando shares fell over 6% following an audit by BaFin. They're investigating alleged accounting violations, and that's basically sparked liquidation on consumer stocks in both Frankfurt and Paris. Other than that, tech growth confidence basically also slumped, and reports that OpenAI may delay its IPO to 2027 made a huge sharp reversal across European semiconductor stocks. We see ST Microelectronics, they led the decline. Also, ASML is down by nearly 2.6%. So not a good end to the week for the European markets.
Bad look for the end of the week, but luckily there's always another week, I guess. Keep an eye on Zalando on Monday, and also keep an eye on this show at 3:30 p.m. One will be back on with talk about the Asian markets. See you guys then.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adara and Juan, for that great information. Thanks for Juan for coming and giving us, a view of Europe, obviously becoming more and more important, and not just because I hold ASML, Joe.
Oh,
it's more important than that. Get it, ASML.
Good, get it, ASML. I'm still in DRAM, brother. What do you got cooking up over there?
I'm still in this AIIO, Joey. I've been 4 or 5 pennies out of the money the entire time. Look, it's holding the 4.5 level. I'm not pleased with it. I've added into my position. I've defended that $0.50. And now it's breaking down for the first time below 4.5. But that's not where my stop is. We're going to allow it to stop out. If it holds structure, fantastic. It doesn't, I'm out. That's the cost of doing business, and now it's bleeding its own blood down into 47, 48 here, bouncing back 50. We'll see how this cookie ends up crumbling, but I'm displeased here, at least initially, with the move on AIIO. But there are others that are moving. You needn't be down if you're a small cap trader. Here's a leverage ETF, not strictly a small cap, of course, but ASTX, 2 times leverage long for ASTS. Into the high of the day it goes, 18.96, showing 88s now. It's been a nice little move here, especially above that $0.50. This one could see 20, but you got to keep your eye, of course, on the main name, which is ASTS. Think about that. And while you're thinking about that, think about this. HUMA into the high of the day at 77s. Look, guys, HUMA could absolutely be him, her, and everything else over here, up 24% at around 75 pennies. This one could see the dollar sooner rather than later. Okay. So I'm definitely interested in working my way into this. I'd like, a possible 75 penny dip. ATAI, which I've done nothing with here, but it's a bit of a slower mover. So we're going to keep an eye out on that. And somebody in the chat, I forgot who, was telling me about PYXS. Look, it's got a bull flag pattern, but I put it on the side chart, but I quickly took it off because it's losing VWAP. It's losing all the levels. So here, if it comes into 255, 250 could be a buy opportunity. I'm not going to buy it down there because it breaches my rule about taking these ones long south of the volume weighted average price, but that is a good one. I don't want to hate on it too much. Thank you for pointing it out. But that's all I've got. And then Joey, HKIT was the one that I saw come up on the scanner there. A lot of topping tail candles, though, through 34.
Go ahead. Sorry, man. Go. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. No, it's nothing big, man. NVIDIA with a big blast through the pass here to 195.
What happened, Aura Blaster? What's going on, Quantum? Tag me. I understand what you mean. So tell me what's going on there. So HKIT, watching this one, a lot of topping tails through 35. It's a 37.41 high. Let's see if it holds trend. By trend, I mean coming into the 10 EMA or VWAP. We're going to look out for that. So that's that. Worksport, we also had that one yesterday. I didn't do that well on Worksport yesterday, so I'm a little bit hesitant to trade it. AI breaking down. I'm going to have to get stopped out of that, but that's what it is. And then the Adam James Abroad special, ABCL, right into the high of the day. Adam, good call on that one. A bit of an upward channel here, but it's narrowing a little, Joey.
Yeah.
I feel like the upward, the bars are getting narrower and shorter, so it's really reaching the low end of the range. It's hanging out towards the higher end of the range, which could be good, but those are the ones I'm looking at. I do apologize. Usually we're in a few positions here, but the pickings are a little bit slim today. Get it, Tisha, SDOT.
Oh, I thought it was going to say KC526.
No, Casey's not in the chat yet. I haven't seen her
You
yet.
see your boy Bubin? You see Bubin in there?
No, Bubin probably is going to be here from work later.
Oh,
nice,
okay.
Tisha, S dot. This one's coming back, Tish, especially above 13. The dot. Let's see what the dot tills are here. 11.3 million dollar market cap, 20.5 million shares traded a day. Company profile float on this one, Tish, is 1 million shares.
All right.
Right? And so that's a small float.
Oh, I like the look of this one, too.
This guy, man. This guy, bro. Get it. Oh, Farm Trader apparently called it. Tisha giving credit to Farm Trader for the dot. The dot is a former convict, though, Tisha. It's been locked up in small cap gapper world many times. It's one that we often have on the side chart, and I'm willing to bet you dollars to donuts. If I flip to the daily, you're gonna see it right there. There you go. So S dot right there, Joey. What do you got?
Good stuff, man. I got S dot on my mind, and then you can see that we're in this DRAM, calling it a little drama here. This is what we wanted to see. I mean, obviously we would like to have a little bit more shares on this, but we'll take it for what it is. A nice entry right above the volume weighted price, and then we get a nice little move to the top side here. But yeah, shout out to I just nature of this game sometimes. Obviously, sometimes it really sucks, but at this, it's like no. I just think it's funny. It's because it's like yesterday we're down like 8% or 6% in Google, and then it's like a 2% day in Apple, and it's like a 2% day, and we're like, yeah, let's go. We're so back, baby. We were never count any of us out here in the chat. We've never been gone anywhere. We're always one step away, one trade away, man, and just always keep that mentality just like we do. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We are so back. It's not even funny at this this point. No, and seriousness, drama is going to be my primary suspect here today. And then S dot up 86%, Sharif. So it's not looking too bad. $11 name. Let's see if that momentum can really pick up. I told you that we got taken behind the woodshed this bright and early this morning. Didn't even really get to wake up on that other name that SHPH before it decided to beat us to a pulp. It felt like a couple of attempts on that one. No, I'm being sarcastic with that. But anyways, aside from that, man, a couple of good opportunities, a nice rebound in the market. This is what we want to see. And you guys are so right. Like Tesla is definitely on one here today. All right, so it's looking really good. I have drama up here. Let's go take another. I have a specific target. Why?
I love your
country. DRAM. But the Tesla buy program up here, guys. We're not going to complain about it, but then you go back to the bigger picture. Sorry to rain on the parade. We're still down a little bit here off of the previous pivot, but it's helping drag the market up. This is what we want to see, especially on a Friday. Hopefully we can get back. World, right? Is just, hey, we're looking for those. I remember it was like a couple of months straight. Yeah, this is huge. A couple of months straight where it was just like everything was just buy. All right.
Get it, Drago.
Who's doing this? You or I?
I think you should do it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why, thanks, man. I'm glad to do the honors. You know why? Because Dragos, I'll take this one because Dragos is actually from Chi-Town. Chi-Town actually named the best city in North America. So what happened with the boys yesterday? We started reminiscing about the best city in North America.
Your trip to Chicago.
Yeah, great times, man. Planes, trains, and automobiles. All right, $100 super chat. My two favorite bros on the show. Let's go. Up 20K so far, trading NBIS. There's no BS there, Sharif.
Crazy.
Get some drinks on me and go Boots this weekend. Peace. Who's Boots? Is that Boots and Hearts?
Oh, it's not. Is it Boots and Hearts this weekend?
I hope not. I hope not, man.
There's no way.
I don't think so.
It's usually around Ville time.
No, it's not.
And don't do that to me, man. You know my affinity for country music.
Oh, you're on the Boots and Hearts train now?
I love country, bro.
That's crazy, man.
You already know
Starting
that,
at $53 down, my
Where's
boy. Where's the plan?
Tickets. It's going to go tickets, Joey. We're going to see when the tickets are. Buy tickets.
Man,
let's go, man. All right, here it is, Joey. August 7th. I told you it's around Ville time, man.
Boots equals go wild.
Yeah, it's around Ville.
All right, man. We may as well, if you're going, you may as well put your name on the list. Get the tickets, man.
Get those early tickets.
August
you
7th.
can camp there and stuff, right? Like there's a whole thing.
It's
like a real festival. I love.
It's a real festival.
Yeah, well, it's not like a Veld or 2-day or like
digital dreams. I see what you're getting.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
Jonas? No, man.
Jonas Brothers, country music, man. I wonder who's going to be there. I wonder if Ella Langley.
What's the lineup telling you?
You think Ella Langley will come?
Maybe if you ask her.
Yeah, well, she's kind of big right now, Joey.
What happened to you?
Have you heard of Ella Langley?
Is that country music?
Yeah.
I don't listen to country.
You don't like country. Oh, I'm sorry.
What happened to your girl?
She's married now, Joseph. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And she's posting, littering her Instagram of her in love.
It makes you sick, eh? Just turns your stomach.
Bro. Bummer, says Jesse Hernandez. Jokes, man.
Hey, there's nothing worse
awesome,
than just watching people have fun without you, man.
Yeah, we're having a good time. Thank you so much, Dragos, though, for the $100 super chat, brother. I hope you continue to print. Obviously, a very good trader. And stick with us, man. We love having you around, Joey.
Yeah, for sure. Too soon, Joe. We are still mourning her. Manny.
Straight up.
Yeah, sorry, man. I'm sorry. Boy.
Is that what they're calling the Ella fans now? Ella fella?
Ella fella?
I didn't know that.
You're an Ella fella? That's crazy.
Is that what the male groupies are called?
Wow,
the Ella fella?
Insane. Yeah, but what we do here is we have DRAM. Boots Ennis? Who is that person? Here's DRAM, a nice little pop-up. I did take the majority of position off here, guys, just because this could be a potential failed high of the day break and establishing a low high, which I think is going to be the narrative, but I can also be wrong. There is volume supporting the up move here. You can see it uptick as we continue to climb a little bit higher, but Rocket Lab is really moving here, Sharif, and then there is Nvidia holding that 195 marker, so things aren't looking horrible on this Friday.
Yes, sir. Adam, where are you, Adam? Your ABCL is ramping into the area high for ABCL. It's not a big percentage-wise, but what a structure. We're going to have to work into this some way, somehow, Joey. This is only up 8.1%. The 722 high. Fantastic look, though. on that. Loving ABCL. I'm working with the dot over here. We've got one beak wetter until, but it's failing, and there we go. We get stopped out of that. We're 0 for 2 to start the day, guys. 1021 limit down here on SDLT. So watch out for that loss. That ended up getting me. So let's stick with the names that are moving up here. I'm gonna stop bottom picking on some of these ones. 0 for 2 to start the day. SLS is the one that keeps on giving. SLS and ABCL. So let's switch up AIIO to ABCL. I'm gonna flip to that, and that way we'll have LS and ABCL right beside each other, because these are the ones that are really kind of moving. Yeah, I see Huma is dropping pretty bigly, lost 75 pennies. Look out for the hold up there. Brian, right around 71 to 72. That's where the volume weighted average price is. So be on the lookout for that. Shout out to John. Where's my man John there? John Grant, the realtor, 2889. Thank you for joining, John. Welcome to Trader TV Live, brother. Make sure to get the morning note every day. Now that you're a premium member, go to the YouTube homepage for Trader TV and just click post, the post tab at the top, and then go there, go down. You'll see it there. Thank you very much, John, for joining. Joey, what are you looking at?
Good stuff, man. You're right. Boots Ennis is the boxer. Thank you. Very thankful. I didn't panic and sell these calls, says Jesse. Yeah, so am I, man. I'm happy that you're having a pretty good day. Same with you, Gorb. I don't know how your days have been going. Los Pollos, I know you're in the chat. Licky. Oh, it looks like Netflix has strange things for breakfast. Oh, bottom. Maybe it might be. I mean, this name is completely overdone. Someone said, Joe, can you take a leg 7? For sure. Of course, we can take a look at the old leg 7 here. Now, we'll head over to our watch just to see if any narrative has changed within some of these names. And think about how much red we were looking at not too long ago. Now Google holding on to positivity. The top name is still negative here today, but Apple up 1% on the intraday session. Nice right at the volume weighted average price. May take some time to turn things around on this here,
Gorb. See your flakes? 6%.
Yeah,
Greenville
6. Yes,
today.
yeah. Well, I'm
Are
no
the good
longer.
times back?
Maybe, man. When it's overdone, maybe you see a rotation
good call.
out of some names like that have been on some big time runs, like obviously the merge names here, and then you see them rotated into some things that have been overbeat. Like here's another strong session for Meta, right? So Meta putting in some work here today. So unfortunate that we have this shelf here on this name. Jeez. Man, oh man, there's a couple of things weighing on the shoulders of, I think, Meta platforms right now. Obviously, a lot of antitrust issues going on right now, and just the CapEx. So when you combine the two from a headwind standpoint, a little bit more issues within the underlying asset. If and when those clear up, then I wouldn't be surprised. We're trading at like 23 times. It might even be 16 times forward earnings now, right now, at this point. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the near future, maybe 6 months or maybe even less. So it takes a lot longer than what we typically expect it to do. But Meta will at some point be at an all-time high. And hopefully Zuck decides to split the stock at $1,000 so we can get retail investors involved. And with that being said, I can have some more shares as well. DRAM is my only trade right now, 73.19. We're now at 73.56. Let's see if we can find an add opportunity on this thing.
Yeah, good call there, Joey. All right, we're to the two stronger names with a view to a pullback. Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah, I did see that. yeah, I did. Thanks, Joe.
That's crazy, man.
SLS and ABCL, I perceive these to be the strongest of the bunch, at least for the moment. They're not up big. Neither is up big. One's 8 2/3. The other one is 14 or 15 1/4 here, depending on what second you're looking at. But look at this bamboozlement on the dot. Joey, look at this. In and then out and then right back, right? That's frustrating a little bit there, but that's okay. That's the nature of the beast. This is a compression pattern here on S-Dot. And volume weighted average price here, not featuring as any, it is cutting through the price action like a line of best fit as opposed to support and resistance. My move here on ABCL to defend into the 10 EMA, and my move on SLS is the same, to defend into the 10 EMA. So we'll see how these cookies crumble. We'll put some beak wetters up at some high areas here.
Oh, whoa, DRAM just tanks. Something might be happening.
Looking.
Yeah, something definitely happening.
Not seeing anything happen. It hasn't come through yet. But, you know, once it comes through, of course, We'll get that to you guys as soon as possible. Is the entire market moving or just?
Yeah, no, it's volume.
I'm looking at the SPY.
Yeah,
the
there's
SPY
volume stepping in.
dropped. The NQ dropped as well. I'm sure it'll hit the wire momentarily here, Joey. The second it does, I will update you guys.
Sounds good, man. Yeah, so I got all out of this trade, right? Like I seen the volatility spike, and I'm like, uh-oh, something most definitely happening here. And sure enough, it comes back to our break-even trend line broke, and now we just have to be patient and wait to see if there's going to be another opportunity to engage.
So
yeah,
oil related. Okay.
Absolutely. DRAM to the downside.
Yeah, okay.
Rocket Lab holding up. Nvidia off of that 195 high. So you had a little bit of some strong movement.
Trump
here.
calls Iran action ceasefire violation. Okay, there we go.
There you go.
So here we go. President Trump saying Iran's, I guess, action yesterday. I'm assuming the hitting of the ship in the Strait of Hormuz is what he's calling a violation. So I'm assuming the market is interpreting this as the return of belligerency, so to speak. Yeah, Darwin, that's the way it is. Let's send she's got news.
Yeah, thank you for that, Sharif. I'm just going to elaborate on that more. He posted on Truth Social saying that the Islamic Republic of Iran has shot at least 4 drones at ships traversing the Strait of Hormuz. One of the drones has solidly hit the upper deck of a rather large and very expensive cargo-carrying ship. Damage was done, but the ship was able to proceed on its way. We knocked down 3 other drones. Obviously, it was a foolish violation of our ceasefire agreement. President Donald J. Trump. I'm just going to check USO. Yep, USO a little bit odd.
Why does he capitalize his name? Do you have any idea?
He's that guy.
I'm just wondering. President is in regular, first letter, uppercase, everything,
Yeah.
and then Donald J. Trump, full caps, Joey.
All right. Come on, man.
Make sure you know his name, bro.
We got a lot leaning on this S-Dot trade here, Shreve. I just need it to not break down.
You want me to take over?
If you don't mind.
Absolutely, brother. Oh, you're on the dot?
Yeah, it's
attaboy,
not looking
Joey.
good, though,
Attaboy. It
man.
looks pretty good here, man. If
crazy
it can take out 12, Joseph, I think you're in the clear. If it takes out 12 decisively,
I think it faked me out here.
I don't know about that.
The volume didn't step in.
Okay, well, you definitely have,
Yeah,
let's see how the $0.50 acts here. I'm at level 2 on the dot. 59 buyer currently. 61, there's a high 50s buyer. And it's, high 50s, low 60s buyer here on the dot. I want to see a 50 touch.
I think it's a 7-cent spread.
Yeah, well, that's the nature of that beast, right? Yeah, right now it's